Hey guys, welcome to the Cristecast. Thanks for hitting play. I think you'll find this journey well worth it. Like all good things, it only gets better from here. For the full experience, check out the Cristecast on YouTube, where you can watch each episode. But if audio is your thing, I'm happy to bring it to you here. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. It's free, and it helps the podcast grow. And if you're keen for more, the Cristecast Insider Plus on Patreon or Buzzsprout gives you early access, behind-the-scenes content, and bonuses for just $5 a month. Interested in sponsoring or joining me as a guest? Email me at caleb@thecristecast.com or visit our link tree. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Cristecast. That means it's meant to be right this moment. Welcome to the Cristecast. I'm really excited to have Charlie GetHip Wiltshire with us today. Charlie is not just a YouTube creator. He's inspired countless people to explore new hobbies, get creative, and challenge the status quo. He's sparked conversation, stirred up some controversy, and always puts honest ideas on display while taking us along on his largely unplugged journey. Lately, he's been pushing back against the current state of social economics in different ways, calling with interactive, caring, and more genuine online spaces. Charlie, what drives you on the day-to-day to make content?
I actually think that I am battling evil. I think I'm in an interdimensional battle with evil. I think that's what's happening.
Well said. Well said. I'm talking to the right guy then. It sounds like I'm talking to the right guy. All right. I can't say that you're wrong, right? And we live in a world with trying times right now, and when you talk to people left and right, you often hear about this polling battle going on, whether it's a physical thing or whether it's a spiritual thing, or whether it's just something that's happening as a social battle, right? For people's time and their attention. So that's kind of, again, what I want to do in this cast is just talk a little bit about your journey and talk about this place where you're at right now. When's the last time, I gotta ask this, when's the last time you used VR or virtual reality?
When was the last time? Damn. Oh, when I had to, it was maybe a week ago, and I had to factory reset one of my Quest 2s because I was getting rid of it.
Okay.
So I had to fucking boot it up and just factory reset the motherfucker, and I was like, get this out of my house.
Was this one of the Quest 2s that you threw in your last video? Like, was it?
That one as well. That was the other time I had to use VR again, was to also factory reset that one before throwing it.
Oh, suck it Quest, suck it Meta. I hate VR, I love nature better.
Yeah, right. That one's a great prop. It hasn't broken yet. Like, I mean, the face pad is cracked, but like the actual headset is. I mean, I haven't tried to turn it on. I don't want to try and turn it on because I'm worried it's gonna like fucking blow up from battery damage or whatever. So
right.
That's gonna just be a constant prop whenever I talk about virtual reality matters in the future. Like, I'm not. I am ditching it. Like, I'm ditching making VR videos. Mm-hmm. But if the VR stuff overlaps with a current topic that I'm talking about, then like there's an excuse to talk about it again, and then I have like wealth of knowledge.
Exactly. I was say the wealth of knowledge that you do have with it, you know, it's impossible to get rid of what you already know about it, right? If somebody talks about the subject, you have some understanding of it, which a lot of people do talk about it as we move towards the future. But we not only have VR, we of course have these other acronyms. We have the AR, which people are talking about, augmented reality, which is going to take over with the new glasses in the future, and then we have AI, you know, which everybody keeps talking about. So I want to hear a little bit of your thoughts on these subjects. And as we already kind of jumped into, I heard a little bit about how you started creating content, what kind of got you into this place, up until you started getting into virtual reality, though. So I wanted to just get into that, you know, jump right back in that spot, right?
Okay.
So yeah. Charlie, get hip.
Thank the Lord.
What's up, brother? How you feeling today, man?
Yeah, pretty good. I had 8 eggs. I had 8 eggs because I am bulking in gym, and it's not working. It don't work.
I want to get smarter, man. I want to grow my community, grow my network, and I want to become a smarter person.
Fucking guy.
No, not at all, man. Not at all. When it comes to just
came here to get smarter.
Conversations with people, right? Hey, man.
Yes.
Anyways, is there anything specific that you want to chit chat about, or you got any personal things that you want to get out there, or anything you'd like to focus on whatsoever?
How did you even find me?
It's basically because VR content world, right? It's something where I don't really watch too many VR videos, right? Specifically, right? But I have been in VR since 2014, 2013, actually. You know, I started watching videos in 2012 because I was really interested in the first DK1. And so, yeah, it's just kind of that community, that network kind of brought us together. And I saw the last video that you did. And when you were going through, you know, talking about some of those things, there's a few points in there that I think we share some ideas, share some feelings. And again, the difference is I kind of was on this VR content swing of things before it was a thing, I guess you should say, before it was popular, before Meta had the group.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you found me from the VR video. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's still the thing, because I've been like not really making VR videos for like kind of months now. I did UK is Cooked, and UK is Cooked did well. So I was like, okay, I can exist outside of the niche. And before I did VR, I did cyberpunk videos, and that made full-time income for me for a bit, because I'd pull like 100K-ish views off of some of those videos. Mm-hmm. And then it's just because I was pissed off about cyberpunk, because I was so hyped for that game, and I was like, what is this? They had lied about everything. And also, like, I don't like this whole bullshit where it's like, oh, they've fixed the game now, and then therefore like praise CD Projekt Red, and then actually Cyberpunk's pretty cool, and Edge Runners has come out, so that's like a whole thing now. It's like, have you seen Edge Runners? It's like, no, I got absolutely scummazed with this game. You know, they didn't have any of the day-night cycle with the fucking NPCs that they said they were gonna have. They just completely falsified footage for the game. Like they showed a different version of the game to journalists to get these like insane reviews like months before the release, and it was a totally different game when it came out. They had like a specific demo set up, and you could access the specific demo in the game files that was like, it had better graphics than the actual game set up just for reviewers. It was insane.
So yeah, it was bait and switch.
Yeah, so I made videos covering that, and like before that I did some VR stuff, and before that I was just making videos on my mom's iPad and like making these music video edits and stuff. And I did Beat Saber streams for a little bit. And this was like when I was, I think, 16, 17. And when I did a Beat Saber stream, I did it the first time on my PSVR, just using the PlayStation live streaming tool. And when you use that, there was so few people streaming Beat Saber at all on Twitch that even if just with the automatic PlayStation live stream, where it's nothing more than just the view that you're seeing, and it just shows the view count and the chat messages come up in this really generic way. You do that, I pulled like 40 viewers off of the first time that I did that. And like for anyone that streamed on Twitch, you'll know that like 40 viewers, especially for your first time ever streaming on it, like anything, is actually significant. It's like, holy shit, that's 40 people. If you were in a room and you had 40 people listening to you, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I got that, and I was like, okay, I need to invest in a PC setup. I need to have a webcam and everything. I need to like make this more professional and not just be a PSVR stream. So I begged my mother. I was like, please buy me a CV1. I'll give you half of the money right now, and I'll pay you back on the rest of it. So I gave her half of the money for the CV1. She got a CV1, and then I paid back the rest and I made the money back off of doing those Twitch streams. And I would sometimes pull, like, when I had a green screen set up at one point, and I was doing these mall stick videos and stuff, and all this mixed reality stuff. So that's how I got to know, like, people in the industry, like Toge and Hey Falcon, people who, like, now work with synth writers, and Toge works with Meta now. So, like, that's why I got to meet most of those people. And I made maybe, like, 200 bucks a month off of that, something like that, just from like Twitch donations. But as like a 16, 17-year-old, that was like, oh shit, you know, like that was actually like some money that I could use. Right. So I tried to make YouTube videos on that. None of them really did that well, besides best Beat Saber player video series I did. And then before Cyberpunk came out, then I started also streaming Forza Horizon, and Forza Horizon was an interesting thing too, because I just like decided to cycle it in with my Beat Saber streams just to play a different game for once.
Yeah, because sometimes switch it up a little bit, right?
Would do that. Yeah. So it would be like a flat screen game day or whatever, and we'd play a flat screen game. And as soon as you stream Forza Horizon 4 or any of the Forza Horizon games, you immediately get like at bare minimum 40 viewers, but at the high end like 100. just immediately hitting start streaming, because there's all of these Xbox kids that sit on Twitch streams waiting to jump on someone's live stream, and so then they can join their convoy in the game, and then they get to see themselves in the Twitch stream, and they have someone to play with. So all these kids would just sit on Twitch trying to get in people's games. So as soon as you hit start streaming, boom, you had 40 kids being like, please let me join your convoy, let me join your convoy. And then that's how I got to know some of my moderators and stuff, because there were some kids my age that also joined those streams, and then they ended up being more mature and they could moderate everything, and then so that's how I got all my moderators. And then from that, after I'd do 4 hours worth, 5 hours worth, sometimes 7 hours worth of this is when COVID started, so sometimes 7 hours straight fucking Forza Horizon streams. I was sick at drifting. I was so goddamn good at drifting by that point. All the hours that I fucking pummeled into that game. So that made me 400, 500 a month sometimes. So that was again, I was maybe 17 by this point. So I was like, fuck yeah, fucking 400, 500 a month, let's go. And then I would make an effort every time I'd end stream that a guy would go live on Twitch called Devin Nash, and he's a YouTube he runs a YouTube marketing agency, and he would work with people like Ludwig and a few other people big Twitch streamers at the time, and he got to know a lot of those people. He interacted with some reasonably famous Twitch groups, and he would do a lot of their marketing for them, or they'd talk often enough that he would generate this sort of wealth of knowledge about how to create a thumbnail, and why the color red is so important in thumbnails, because it's it harkens back to when we would see blood, in the wild, because that was one of the few places we were seeing the color red that stuck, and that's why stop signs are red. That's why fucking traffic lights are red, and Discord notifications are red, and all this stuff is red, because it's just a point of engagement,
right?
Yeah. So he'd go through all this thumbnail theory stuff, and he would do these long live streams with people like Ludwig, and they would go through how he comes up with video ideas and plots out thumbnails. So I'd watch those, and then every day after I was done streaming Forza Horizon, I would write one script, I would record one video, I'd do one thumbnail, I'd edit one video. I'd get a video out a day, and I would get to do all these things and hone myself in on it. And I was just reporting on random gaming news. And none of the videos were really getting much more than 400 views. It was it's 100 to 500 views they were getting. But then I made one on the Verge PC guy, and I got in just good enough with it, and with the thumbnail and title theory, that I made the Verge PC guy returns, and that video pulled 100K. And that was oh shit, okay, there it is, finally.
Yeah.
Wow. So I made a few other videos after that, and those ones did not do well. Anyway, Cyberpunk came out, and by this point, I'd cut my teeth on enough of these videos and had at least one good one, that when Cyberpunk came around and everyone was pissed off about it, and I was pissed off about it, and I knew all of this extra information about all these deleted scenes in the game, because I was into that community, then it was perfect timing, and I was pulling 100K sometimes a video off of the Cyberpunk stuff, and that put me up to 15,000 subscribers, something like that. And then it's 15,000 subs off of that, and then I decided to go back to doing VR videos, because I took a step back, and Cyberpunk was dying out. It wasn't doing that well, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Not what the fuck was going on. It was really obvious what was going on. People just had ditched the hate train and were moving on from it. But for me, I was like, oh shit, I have to pivot niche. I got to get out of it, because I started making full-time income off of doing Cyberpunk videos. So I was like, oh my god, I gotta jump ship and not lose my income source.
Well, let me interrupt you right there, because this is kind of where it gets interesting. This is kind of where the cross section of VR, as you're kind of saying, where you're jumping into that area. And even with Cyberpunk, a lot of people were, we talk about this future world, Cyberpunk, that reality of living in a virtual world all the time, right? It gets people excited. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little edit snip right at this moment right here. So we're gonna cut back into this place. I want to know, when you started to get into VR again, or your interest, right? You had the CV1 already, so Who were you looking at? What kind of
which point were we at? We got to the Forza Horizon
you were
thing,
jumping
right?
off of Cyberpunk. You were jumping off of Cyberpunk, and you were
So I
starting
was
into
making
virtual
Cyberpunk
reality.
videos,
Right?
and then this was where I was like, I had to reset because I had to jump niche. I had to get
Right.
out of Cyberpunk. I had to put it into something else, and I was like, I needed to think hard. Like, okay, now I know all this YouTube knowledge. I knew how to like at least get a video to 100K views. Like, I gotten it down pretty fucking tight, so I could
got some system down, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I could go back to doing VR stuff because I already know a bunch about it from doing VR streams and doing the mixed reality stuff and these Twitch highlight videos and whatever. I could go back to doing that. But now that the Quest 2's out, there's actually some mainstream interest, and I was like paying attention to like how well some Quest 2 videos were doing. And I was like, okay, I could jump back in, but we have a bunch of new users coming in, and we're probably going to have way more by the time it's Christmas. Just because the price point was so good on the Quest 2. Also, I bought one, and at the time I was so fucking broke that I barely had the money to buy the Quest 2, so I had to set up an Amazon payment plan and pay it off monthly. So I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the Quest 2. I'm going to go. The VR niche is like broad enough that under the umbrella, it's a good niche to be in because under that umbrella of virtual reality, you have game reviews, you have headset reviews, you have like gaming videos that you can do out of it. You have news videos and like semi-political videos surrounding like the VR ecosphere or whatever. So you have like a lot you can do under that umbrella. So I clocked that, and then the Quest 2 was coming out. I was like, okay, I'll buy it on the Amazon payment plan, and then with the money that I make from these videos, I will pay that off, and I'll be able to keep the headset or whatever. So I set this like time limit for myself. I was like, I have to pay off the headset, otherwise it goes back. So
right.
I make like top beginner tips VR videos, and I start making like weirdest Quest 2 accessory videos, and that one pulled like, I think that's my most viewed video. That's like 6 million something views or whatever. So because I timed it, so it was like right at the precipice of the, like VR going like thermonuclear for a moment, and that was going into 2021. I made like a lot of money in 2021. I made a lot of money in 2022, and I was like too fucking young to know what to do with that money because my CPM rates were so high because the industry, the CPM rates were so good because it's a technology-based sector of YouTube. So the viewers that watch that content, because the audience was actually still kind of old for a while before it got like really diluted by the young that it is now. It had adults have money, they buy products. So the advertising space there is worth a lot more. So it was like perfectly timed to make a killing off of these videos. So also I watched Thrill Seekers videos a bunch when I was like just before I got in, and I was like, oh, I could do like an actual like faced version of this.
Right.
Like I felt like some of his stuff was missed because it was so much voiceover all the time.
Right. So I get that you're seeing that there's missed opportunity that you wanted to jump in. That's kind of what I want to just kind of push a little with my question here, and that is like, what's your main drive and incentive? Because obviously, I think that you create quality content. Was it to make money, right? Or was it to create value for other people? Was it a mixture of the two? What was your biggest incentive to try to actually make videos and do the editing and stay up late?
Because I always have made videos. I've always made videos. So my father used to work for the BBC, and he did camera work with them, and was like a technical
explain
director
something.
or something as well. Yeah, so he eventually left, made his own company. So I grew up with like cameras in the house everywhere, and you know, I got hands-on time with cameras. I liked filming stuff, and then I did some work experience for his company because I got into doing editing. I was making like music video edits and stuff like that. I really liked all of these really cool editors on YouTube that were making like superhero like mashup video edits and stuff.
Right.
And they would take like the Shazam trailer style and they'd put it on Spider-Man and like re-edit the trailers. It was so cool. So I loved the fucking technical editing stuff. And I started making that. That was the first stuff on my channel. I like superhero music video edits. And I still love making that shit. Like, I still end up making it, like, on my own privately, and then just saving them to and I don't even, like, fucking share them. I just do that with Fortnite now. When I still get to play Fortnite with my friends. I take clips, and I end up making these music video edits. Anyway, point is, I have been doing this, like, since I was a child. So, whenever they would be like, what's your dream job? I would say YouTuber, unironically, because back then, when I was like 12, the word YouTuber still meant something. Like, it was still something significant. And, you know, I got to grow up in this golden age of YouTube. And I remember YouTube being like outcast when I was trying to get into YouTube when I was like 7, and I was trying to get onto YouTube on my mom's laptop. And I remember parents, like when I'd talk about YouTube in school and like, hey, have you watched this YouTube video? Parents would be like fucking outraged and shocked because it was this like taboo site to them. And like the media, because obviously the BBC hated it because it's independent media and like it competes with their thing.
Right,
and you had I watched all these advertisers and all of these like mainstream media complex just dog on the internet, and now all of them are making fucking YouTube videos. So like that really stuck with me. I was like, what is going on? Like shit does actually seriously change. And
right.
I would like it would be banned on all the school computers, and like even I remember like watching a Sonic the Hedgehog Hedgehog game had come out on the PS2, and I had the game on PS2. I was trying to figure out how to like get through this whale level where you're like running along this fucking path, and I was looking for this video, and there was some guy who was just made a whole video ranting about it. It wasn't even a tutorial, but he was like, this is the worst fucking Sonic level ever. This fucking whale is bullshit. And he was like, and then like just listed the most like derogatory possible response for like the next 5 minutes. And my mom was listening to it, and I was like 7 years old, and she was like, okay, you cannot go on this site. And I was like, no, but it's funny. Like the guy's just ranting about Sonic the Hedgehog. He doesn't mean it, you know, like it's fine.
Right. I'm sharing this experience with him, right? Yeah.
So like anyway, I still claw my way back onto it, and eventually my mom sees how good my speaking gets. My vernacular improved a lot when I was young. I couldn't read very well because I'm not smart. So YouTube was like, that's how I really learned to read. And we'd go into like the city, and my mom would realize that I can actually like read signs on buildings. And she's just like, this is great. So she wanted me to watch more YouTube.
Yeah,
so
interactive
anyway,
media.
My whole thing was I wanted to be a YouTuber, like all these people I looked up to. And that was what my whole like YouTube kind of sucks now video is about, is that it's like it's so commercialized now, it's shocking. And so like when people see me as just a VR YouTuber, because that's the thing that has done the most well, and like they don't appreciate that I was making fools, I make them off all the stuff. It's just like they're watching me in this inflection point, right? Like they're seeing me at this moment, they haven't seen me at this moment, and then they're about to see me at the next moment. So it's crazy to me, like how people view it like that, because like the whole VR Creator of the Year award thing, because I think I pissed some people off with this thing, and I don't know what's going on Twitter. I haven't actually looked. I just see all the notifications coming in, and it's like I have like a bazillion fucking notifications, and every time I go on Twitter, it's 20 plus, 20 plus, 20, and I have to clear it, and then 20 plus. I'm like, what is happening?
Well, here we go. I mean, you tell me. Are you having any feuds with any of the VR content creators out there? You can tell us right now. Or is there
no?
beef?
I'm
beef?
I'm the chillest person ever. I have no like. If someone, I don't get it. Like these people, I think are like, I think they're yelling about what I'm saying as if I'm saying it like, because I really like deeply care. I do care, but it's like separate. My care about like the genuinity of like, or like what giving that award to someone who's fully AI generating thumbnails like inflects off for the rest of or reflects on the rest of the industry. It's like that's separate from me disliking anyone as an individual. That's just objectively me saying like, to me as someone where like this is the thing, the whole YouTube process to me is fucking sacred. You understand? I've been doing this, you know, I was trying to like watch all of these theory videos on getting thumbnails right. And then like when I came in, and I remember like people are gonna give me shit for saying this, but it's fucking true. And I used to have these images documented on I had a section of my hard drive that I kept these photos where I would figure out you know when someone holds up a VR headset in a thumbnail and it's like some shit like this, and they'll put the red text on it or whatever. So I was watching smartphone videos from like MKBHD or whatever the fuck, and I noticed like I was trying to figure out how do you present a product like clearly and visually and strikingly in a thumbnail, and that was like a common theme, was just hold it like that, have like, so there's some depth there, right, that this is the focus product, and then you have your reaction image, you have the product. That's really all you need. Like as long as the product, and that's the good thing about the Quest headsets, is that they're just inherently kind of like engaging to look at. So I was like, okay, that's the format, and only a few people had done it. And I was like, why? Because so many people were just doing these like really like flat renditions of thumbnails, and it was like quest updates, you know, whatever, like, and then the date, and it was just like, what is? There's no marketing here. It's fucking crazy. So,
Right.
but like, there were some people who actually had some grip on it. Like Nathie had a grip on it. Thrillseek had a pretty good grip on it. Like those Vera Oasis had a pretty good grip on it. So they all still had like so. But anyway, like I started doing that, and then I'd put the red text on it because of all, like, you know, the fucking prominence of. I was like, I don't want to do red arrows. Or at least I want to. I have done them. I want to just try and avoid doing them and do it. And like through the same mechanism with the whole like seeing blood thing and like, you know, what that means in our like cognition and why stop signs are red and notification, whatever. Like, how do I leverage that without just doing the red arrow, red circle? Not that I haven't stooped to doing the red arrow and the fucking red circle.
So the next question is, how do you feel about clickbait, right? What are your thoughts about that? Are you against it for it? No, for the right reasons?
I think I get the impression that some people are upset about my use of it in the past, as like a retaliation to what I'm saying about AI generating thumbnails or whatever. The point I would make, if that is what people are saying, because I would imagine it probably would be, that when you clickbait a thumbnail that you have spent time on, that, you know, like, it takes a while to make a fucking thumbnail. Anyone that does YouTube knows how long it takes to make a thumbnail. And I make most of mine myself. I mean, I make them all myself now, but for a little while I had a thumbnail editor, but they're mostly myself now. So you know how long that takes. And you know how difficult that is, and how much
it's the thing I don't like doing the most. I literally despise the thumbnail more than anything in the process, believe it or not.
Yeah, and you have to think really hard about like how to convey, especially for a podcast format like yours, how to convey like this fucking conversation in one image is really difficult. So
see, go ahead.
Okay, so there's that, and then when you clickbait in a thumbnail, you have actually like there's more weight behind it when it's you doing it, and you have spent that time on Photoshop, right? You've spent that time in fucking paint.net or whatever you use, and it means that then you have looked at that clickbait for a long time, and you decided through like all of these editing decisions to go through with this. So then when you hit publish, you are responsible for that thumbnail. With the AI thing, so much of that is deflected, and I think that's why people like Mateo with his thumbnails have been able to like kind of get away with actually saying on the thumbnail, this is real VR for a game that does not exist, and like because he's so detached from it, and it's like I'm saying that when I've clickbaited, it is actually worse, right? Like it is worse because I've fumbled massively, right? There was one time where I did the Deca Gear video, and I was like, how do I sell a general audience on like clicking on a Deca Gear video? Because none of the Deca Gear videos were doing particularly well. Thrill had a couple of them that did well, but like a lot of people just weren't getting good viewership off of it because like the focus was really the Quest 2 at the time. So. Anyway, I was trying to compare that because the Deca Gear had a similar resolution to what was currently leaked for the Quest 3 at the time. And that the form factor was closer to that of what the Quest 3 would be, and that despite it being PC VR, right? If it wasn't PC VR and it was native, which it's not, it would kind of be like a Quest 3. Anyway, like most of those leaks ended up turning out to be fucking bullshit, and it was nothing like the fucking Quest 3.
No.
And it was such a stretch to try. But I was like, and it wasn't done out of me being negligent. It was done out of like, how do I get, and like ultimately, if people click on it and end up like getting something useful out of it, and then go check out the Deca Gear because of it, even though that turned out to be a massive fucking fumble. What a scam, right? It was like a total like money laundering operation. I don't know what was going on. I don't want to say anything. I have no idea what's happening. Apparently, it blew up. You know, the building exploded or something.
Wrong timing.
You know, like the aliens took it out from like a fucking, you know, space fortress, just lasered it. I don't know what happened there. So I'm like, oh shit.
The drones.
Like, you know, so anyway, like the point is I was 18 when I was making most of these videos. So when adults are like giving me shit about shit that I made at 18, it's like, come on guys. Like, you know, what are you doing? You're 35 years old and you're on Twitter going like nattering. Why didn't you message me directly? Well, like no one, so few of no one that's upset with me has actually messaged me directly to just talk to me. None of them have. I would be open to it, but like I'm not like going out of my way to go like follow up with them. But like when they initiate it, I feel like just talk to me, and
Right.
none of them will. It's like, and so there's this whole thing where it's like, this is performative. Like, it's performative to a degree where, like, you're publicly posting it on a platform like X or Twitter or whatever the fuck.
It's exactly what
And
it
then-
is. It's public criticism in a way that they don't have to be talked down to, right?
It's like, okay, why would you choose to post it like that in a public format rather than just like DM me? And so it goes like, so the reason they're posting it is because they want other people to see this. Like it's such a weird social dynamic. So I just put up a tweet where I was like, thank you all for watching and discussing my video. And I was like, I hope you're all well. And I just posted that shit, just me hanging out with my dog. Because it's like, I can't, none of these people will talk to me. So,
right.
And like, anyway, I don't mean for that actually, but the people in the industry that I actually, so here's the thing. The people I've always liked the most and I've respected the most, and they all reached out, almost all of them reached out to me and were like, hey, good fucking video, like, good point. And I was like, and think, because they're going through the same thing I'm going through, where they're realizing that their industry is fucking baloney. Like, it's not, I mean, like, VR objectively is in, like, a pretty good spot. I mean, we haven't really had, like, another Half-Life Alyx, which fucking sucks, but I get it. It's like once in a blue moon you get those, but still, it's like to actually like compete with flat screen. Like, I still end up enjoying Fortnite more than I do most VR games. Like Fortnite and the new movement system, you can fight Godzilla and I can get the Yeezys. Oh my god, dude, that is where it's at. So like, I'm like, dude, this is a flat screen game, and it's pulling more engagement and like joy out of me than any of these. So like, what are we doing here? Like, the whole point of this is that it was so much more immersive than flat screen that you would like, oh no, are we reconnecting? Is it fucking my shit up? Can you still hear me?
Nope, I can still hear you.
Riverside came up and it was like reconnecting. Reconnecting.
No,
I was like,
I didn't lose you at all. I've still got you over here on this side.
okay.
So
like Half-Life Alyx and Boneworks, they like tick that box, and Beat Saber tick that box through just being so inherently engaging. Gorilla Tag tick that box, like the movement system and the skill ceiling is so valuable. That's the other thing. Oh my god, all of these like VR YouTubers and VR enthusiasts that just shit talk Gorilla Tag and they don't actually play it because they're just too old to like actually put the effort in, because they're all too like they're too out of shape to like actually compete with these kids. And Gorilla Tag, I fucking love Gorilla Tag. The movement, like J-Man really like turned me onto it because the movement system's so good. And Aiden and the editors I used to work with, who I appreciate, by the way, Aiden, thanks for defending me on Twitter. I didn't see what he's defending me from, but I saw his tweets defending me, and I was like, okay, it's nice that some people are defending me. I don't know what's going on, but thanks for defending me. I was like, that's nice. So anyway, I played a bunch of Gorilla Tag with him, and we did some Gorilla Tag videos or whatever. And Julian helped me with J-Man Curly. He would help me with like some of the Gorilla Tag videos that I moved into making. So we have like a back and forth conversation on the VR stuff as well. So basically, everyone that I actually have like some droplet of respect for reached out to me to say something nice about the video. So I'm like, okay, well, this is all I can ask for. This is all I want. My girlfriend likes the video. My brother likes the video. My friend Leo likes the video. Or my friend Leon likes the video. It's like all the people I actually like in the Discord that are like my age, that aren't just, like screaming kids or whatever. Like the people I actually think are intelligent, they all like the video, and I pass it through all these people before I upload it. Yeah. So I want to get it to a point where all the people I respect like this video, I can now publish it. And until that point, like I was reaching out to other VR content creators and they're helping with the color grading. I'm so mad that some of it came out so grainy. I'm going to fix that for the next one, but some of the shots were so fucking grainy. I wanted like a grainy filmic look, but I did not want that fucking grainy. One of the shots was just blown the fuck out. It's just because I blasted the sun straight into the sensor. I'm figuring out how to use a DSLR, okay, and shoot an S-Log. I am learning, okay? The mics are still pretty good. The dogs are still cute. My presentation's fine. Let's all relax here for a bit of grain. Jesus Christ.
Hey, man, I gotta say, Charlie,
it bothers me so
overall,
much.
The storytelling that you do in your videos is definitely exceeding the average levels of YouTube videos, right? I can see that because I I make
This is why I don't
videos
care
on a
about the
regular
Twitter stuff,
basis,
I know.
right? I put time into my videos, but I don't put that much time into my videos. You have to script those things, you have to film multiple times, put all that editing to work together, and you have to remember all of it. Trust me, it's a lot of time and effort, and I think a lot of people see that. If I go through your comments, I can see a lot of people are definitely saying, hey man, I really like your quality, I like your cinematic style, these are masterpieces. So I know you get a lot of compliments. At the same time, as we've mentioned, you do get a lot of critical people who are saying,
Well, the critical people, they haven't seemed to have watched my content since like when I was 18, 19.
no,
And
of
it's
course
like,
not.
okay,
The
why
people who
you-
are critical
why-
aren't regulars,
like,
or they wouldn't be
you-
critical.
But I
Right.
think it's reflective of them, because personally for me, like, I don't judge anyone really off of like content they made even 2 years ago, because it's like, for me that's a fucking big jump. So I don't do that to other people, but these adults that are doing it to me, and it's like, I think it's reflective of the fact that they're actually not moving much. Like, they're not changing much. So because they don't change much themselves, because so many of them are still making the exact same content that they were making 3 years ago, and like their viewership's is getting worse. It's just
I gotta say real quick, because as you're saying, when I talk to multiple creators, and there's two kinds of creators out there, my friend, and there's creators who are trying to build that audience, build that community, get those views, right, maximize and scale, and then there's people who just have this desire to create the same thing, just like they want to knit every single day, right? They just want to kind of make the same stuff over and over again, and they don't really care about the views. And I'm going to go ahead and actually put myself in a little bit of that category. I started a YouTube channel back in 2005, back when the first year YouTube started, and the only reason I wanted to jump in YouTube was because when I was young, but there wasn't a place on the internet you could just drop videos. And as you said, like, when you wanted to learn how to play a video game better, whether it be Sonic or Call of Duty, you could go to YouTube and you could say, hey, how do I get past this level? And all of a sudden there was views. And the first video I ever uploaded was a Call of Duty video that got like 50,000 views. And I was like, wow, these gaming videos, are pretty cool. And, it's easy to get views, right? Easy. But again, back in the day, there was no monetization with YouTube. So if you were a YouTuber, this thing that didn't exist at the time, you were just somebody who liked to make videos personally because you liked to make videos. And so if you started on YouTube back in the day, you just made videos for fun. And then eventually this advertisement thing came and you could make money off of it. And so again, for myself, I feel like I kind of fell into the advertising. I fell into people calling me a YouTuber, people calling me an influencer. I've always had jobs where I had to work outside of this place, right? So anyways, just not to take over, but just take that other perspective. What do you think about people who are on YouTube sharing that space, right? Kind of the old timers.
I did that.
Right?
That's what I was doing when I was 18 and 19.
Exactly.
Okay? I did that in 2021 and 2022. I have been in their shoes. I have made similar content. And, like, my criticism, really, like, with any of this, like, for all the people who are like, well, you did that 2 years ago. Exactly. That's the whole point. It's like, how are you still doing it 2 years later? What the fuck is going on, dude? Where's the fucking the mirror? They don't have one. There's not a single mirror in their home. It's crazy. So I don't value that at all. Like, I get up every morning and I go walk the dogs and I go sit out in the forest and I sit there for like, sometimes end up sitting there for like an hour just writing stuff down on my phone, things I think would be funny. And it's beautiful. Even when the weather's terrible, it's still beautiful because it's like in this detached area in like from civilization in the UK.
Similar to where you were out there filming with in the video,
where,
right?
Yeah, so like I was like, I was going out there. I was like, how have I not taken advantage of these filming locations? Like you can shoot some serious shit there.
Right, so, you live in a beautiful area.
Then I got in contact with like some cinematographer friends I know that work with Meta, and it's funny that some of the technical guys that work with these fucking companies, some of which are like fucking despise me, still like they still fuck with me. Like they still know that I'm chill. So I got on these long calls with this guy. He showed me how to set up the camera properly and like shoot an S-Log, and then he went through the color grading stuff with me. And I made this like little on my Instagram. I should post it to my Twitter as well. But I made this little like sort of music video edit of me walking my dogs, and it was like, this is the vibe I want to capture. So then I just wrote the script. Like I wrote the script within like a couple of days because it was all like at the forefront of my brain. And then shot it, and just a couple of alternate camera angles. I want more alternate camera angles. I like there was not as many camera angles as I wanted. Like what I want to do with the videos is get to the point where I have to use so minimal overlay footage, right? Like I don't want to have to cut away that much. Like you watch Better Call Saul, they can hold a shot sometimes for 10 seconds because of the way that they've set up that shot, what the lighting reflects based on like where the characters are in their stories,
Right.
and like one's in the dark and one's in the light, and so it's like the storytelling just in one shot should be engaging enough that you don't have to cut around it a billion times. Because I realized, like, so when I did The Internet is Dead and YouTube Kind of Sucks Now, is like my sayonara to that whole like era of YouTube, that hyper engaged, like hyper edited style, and just like letting off the gas a bunch and trying to like, you know, like mature and calm down. Because like YouTube Kind of Sucks Now is the most insane edit I've ever made in my entire life, and it's like nearly 30 minutes long. The Internet is Dead is like insane, and like those videos took me like 6 weeks each, almost to make 6 weeks each, and I'm fucking.
There's you can tell there's a lot of effort put in those videos. That's one of my questions was how much time did you put into those? So I'm glad you answered.
I put in like fucking 4 grams of fucking Scooby, dude. I was not good for my health. Okay, I had to like keep my I listened to every Beatles album. You know how many albums the Beatles have? I listened to every Beatles album. I listened to almost every America album. It's just like, and then I was listening to these albums, I was taking songs off of them that I could get into the video, because you can get, or I realized with EQ you can get around a lot of the copyright stuff, and if you're only using like 6 seconds of a song, you can kind of get away with it anyway. Like that's kind of like their rulings on a lot of it.
Right.
So I was weaving it in enough, and I was like weaving my voice in and out that I wasn't using so much of the song that it'd get copyrighted. So I figured out I can just use copyrighted music in all my videos, provided I mix it properly and I don't go past.
Right, just vibing through. Right.
Yeah. So that was like the peak of that, and then YouTube Kind of Sucks Now is like bang, a fucking like bookend on that, and now it's like I've reincarnated my career into what I'm doing now. And you are watching it maybe explode. Like this might be it for me, dude. I might be cooked.
When you say
might do really fucking well, and it might be.
You're not allowed to use the word cooked. People say, right? I've heard that. You're not. No, I'm joking. When you say explode, it
might be fucking cooked, dude. It might
explode the good ways.
So
I want to ask about that, because the last couple of videos you've made, like the last 3 videos you've made, kind of talk about technology, and you know, you mentioned get outside, go out in the forest and relax. Oh.
Go outside, you silly muppet.
Okay. I didn't watch the third one. Or which one is it? The Meta is Dead. Is that one? Or
yeah, you don't have to watch that one.
I didn't watch that one. I didn't watch that one. But I watched the other one.
And you watch YouTube Kind of Sucks Now, and you watch the latest one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane, because like I got absolutely bombed on those videos.
I want to for example, I want to definitely like do a little bit of research on what you just last.
It is my best work.
All right. Well, hey, I did also take a look at some of the car videos that you made, and some of the other stuff that you've got. Oh yeah, you're running around outside snowboarding and doing cool stuff. Again, for what I see, I don't see a VR YouTuber. I see a content creator overall. I see a video maker. I see an editor. Yes. I see somebody who is an entrepreneur, because in order to do all those things, you have to be somebody who understands the basics of how to create a business, market yourself, and push forward.
Business expenses are the best.
Yeah.
Business expenses on tax that I shouldn't be paying to begin with. What do you mean you take 50% of my money? That's fucking insane. Right. And my roads don't work. Why am I paying nearly $1,000 a year in road tax for a 2.5 liter 17-year-old Subaru? What's the deal with that? That is so fucked up. I only do like 3,000 miles a year, so it's not even an emissions thing. They just like take an arbitrary thing and go, $1,000 a year off of you, please. And it doesn't even go to the roads. It goes into a black hole of just like countrywide tax money. It doesn't go into the road. And they're grushing the roads. They're grushing the roads when it's not even freezing, and I gotta like spray all of the salt off of because it'll just destroy my Jackmobile. So it's like, what do you do? And it wrecks the local environment. All this salt everywhere.
Charlie, somebody's got to pay for it, buddy.
Salting it. I know, but it's just because they have these contracts with these companies. Right. It's like, so they just they have an obligation to use the salt. I know they have an obligation to use the salt. So it's like, it's how have we gotten to this point? And this is with everything, and it goes with the VR industry, it goes with YouTube. We're at this point where everyone's just kind of contractually obligated to just do these things, even if it's not turning over a profit or benefiting anyone. It's gone that way with everything.
It's a 2 + 2 = 15 situation, and we're trying to get away from that right now. And I mean
The
this.
advertisers
That's why I
aren't
want to
even
have
making a return
conversations.
on revenue with YouTube advertisements. Then a lot of them don't make a return, and like this is the whole point I was making with my internet is dead video on my YouTube kind of sucks now video. What happens when these advertisers realize like what percentage of these views on their ad are bots? Like they pay for like 20 million views worth of screen time, and like 40% of that is bots. There's like, and they just kind of have to market anyway because they just spiral.
Right. Well, the moment you can pay for views, the moment you can pay for likes, the moment you can pay for comments, it becomes what is that worth, right? And so the moment I saw people selling 10,000 subscribers for $15, I stopped caring about subscribers.
I thought that stuff stopped. It's so bad. It's actually a huge chunk of YouTube. Like all of the viewership,
I've worked with multiple
so
people who have 1 million subscribers, but they're fake. They're fake. They're not real, right? There's zero
on my
engagement.
YouTube kind of sucks now video, on my internet is dead video. Because I talked about like a lot of the bot sites, and I like discussed openly a lot of that stuff, and also like highlighted like it was not positive when it comes to like YouTube and how they conduct business, right? Anyway, I got all of these fucking Turkish bots like just bombing the video's watch time. So they like the video had like a 12 or 13 minute long watch time, which is pretty good even for, I know it's a 30-minute video,
Absolutely.
but it's pretty fucking good.
You're hitting over 10 minutes. It's great.
Yeah. So, and then I log on one day and there's a site in Turkey, and it's a specific like the site is bizarre. I didn't even go. I was trying to like research it, but all of these bots from this one place in Turkey, and it bombed it from 13 minutes down to fucking 2 minutes, or like 2 or 3 minutes of watch time. Yeah, and like eventually it came back up. It's back up to like, you know, like 13 or 12 or whatever it is now. So it came back, but I was like, holy shit, that's what I'm talking about happened. Like I'm watching what I said affirm itself in front of me, and people are still trying to like downplay the bot issue. I'm like, there it is. They just try to, and this is the thing, they just control the sea of content. It's like, you know, if you're a foreign entity, you're gonna just like shoot bots at like specific YouTube videos and de-rank them or up-rank other videos with just pushing the watch time in different locations. So much of YouTube's recommended is bullshit now. It's crazy.
Well, this is where we kind of jump into this category, I feel like, of what we mentioned at the beginning when I first talked to you. I said, hey, you know, what's inspiring you to, you know, continue? What are you passionate about? And you said you feel like you're fighting a little bit of a war. That's where it is.
I'm fighting evil. That's what's happening.
Right.
Well, it's not necessarily evil. It's just like negligence, and everyone's just passing the blame off to everyone else. It's just this constant like it's all like borrowed time and borrowed money.
It's detrimental to us overall. We're watching a slow
amounts
earthquake.
Of game studios I like worked with that were just like openly like, we're not making a return on investment. They're just relying on funding from Meta. Meta
which is what you mentioned in the last video, right? With how Meta's funding most of the capital and they're controlling.
Where are the users? Where are the users? There are none.
Right.
So where are you getting this money? It's like, okay, so like there are no users. They keep Meta's just losing on so many of these companies. But now they're saying that they're gonna flood Instagram and Facebook with AI generated accounts that will engage like people, right? They will be. You won't be able to apparently differentiate them. They'll actually comment and engage in like other people's. Which is like, I can't. What the fuck is happening, yo? Oh my god, dude. So is that just gonna make up for like, oh, look at all these users we have now? Is that gonna like, how are you gonna? And then like, also, does YouTube even know what percentage of their like viewership is bots? Because they can't. These bot comments, they can't differentiate them. They're everywhere. I mean, if you're a YouTuber, you know how bad the bot situation has gotten. It's insane. It's so crazy. And also on like Instagram and Twitter, all of these AI accounts that contact me now, and like almost all of my business emails are just AI generated. Like,
Charlie, I really like your last video. Did you know that I needed to transfer my Bitcoin? Could you please help me with my wallet? Right? And comment. Yeah, there's a lot of crypto scams.
It was like them actually. No, it was like people coming to me as like marketing agencies, and I could tell that the way that they had detected my account was just through, and it's a bot running everything. thing. And some of them, they have to like actually disclose that they're bots. So you like, I get a Twitter DM from like Ivanka, whoever the fuck, and like I go on the account and it's an AI generated profile picture. It's an AI generated profile picture. It's an AI generated account. It says AI ran marketing account, and it's like they just accept that. And I think the money will actually come through. Like I think it would be from an actual, but like that's how they're conducting, because they can't justify paying these people anymore. And like in the UK, Labour just increased business tax across the board, and because they promised they wouldn't increase income tax, and we're all going to tax people more. So instead, they just up business tax, and then all the businesses up their prices, all the supermarkets up their food costs. So then it's just like we're getting taxed by extension. So like it's so cooked, and everyone's on borrowed money. I've never seen it this bad before. And these studios that are shutting down, and like top selling Quest games, they're just they know their time's running out, or like they've shut down their marketing division and laid all these people off because they just let Meta do it now. And
let me ask, what do you think the cause of this is? It because there's not enough VR users? Because we've seen VR users grow and grow every year. Or why are companies not able to make a return? You know, what do you think is the biggest
I think
impact
VR
on
users,
that?
VR users is increasing, but like it's not constant. As in, like the average daily users, I think people are making an argument that it has increased, and like it probably has, like globally, because it's still in some sort of growth phase. But the percentage of people that are dropping out, like okay, maybe you still having generally increasing daily users, but there's this whole swath of people who they're being replaced by, and who are just putting down the headsets. And it's like I all the VR YouTubers I talk to who are like, oh my god, the shit I've seen, where some of them are like relentlessly pushing VR on social media and on their Twitter and being like, look at this new VR trailer, guys, amazing, exclamation mark. And they're like, and I'm watching them post these tweets with like a deadpan facial expression, and I can tell they're just like, they've already downloaded the trailer as soon as it's come out, and that's the whole thing, and then they farm like 100 likes off of Twitter, and it's like, is it even worth like the pain I can see in your eyes that you're going through by reporting on this? And so you can be like, well, people need to report on it, but you have the publishers that post a trailer anyway. It's just this like repeated engagement farm they feel they have to engage in, but they know they're not actually contributing anything anyway. And it's like, okay, great, I got 100 likes out of it, and it's just like, that's a part of the grind, that's a part of keeping up appearances or whatever. It's like, I can't do that because I know like I can only post about something if I really care. So like Underdogs, I made a post about, and I was like, I talked about why I like Underdogs so much. So like there's some times where I do that, but it's so, I realize some of these people, they're not doing it for any artistry. They're not doing it, like they got into the industry. I got into all of this stuff through wanting to make YouTube videos to begin with. Like I wanted to be like creative in that sense. These people got into it because they were really enthused about a technology, and then just kind of made some videos on it, or like just started making videos on it because they wanted to talk about it, but they didn't actually like the actual art of making a video, right? Like cinematography, editing, like the soundtrack. You listen to most of their soundtracks in their videos, it's literally just like a couple of non-copyright YouTube tracks, and it's like you feel like you're like, just I'd rather no music. I would rather no music at all, please. I can't sit through this whole like, you know, like Jingle Bells ass fucking rip off like nonsense YouTube studio music. It's horrendous. So like you look at the effort that they put into that, you look at the effort that they put into the thumbnails now, just offloading it to AI. So like that's the other thing with the AI thumbnails, is like, what does that, like, to me, what do I see that as a viewer, where if I'm going to click on this video, I'm saying that you don't care enough about this video to actually spend the time making that thumbnail. So like the video is not going to be much better, is it? Oh yeah, it's just you sat at your desk with a fucking non-copyright, like, you know, YouTube track and just some overlay video. This is fantastic. You know, it's like, now you're developing like a stockpile of like a whole section of the audience that are just not going to click these videos anymore because they know that it's actually reflective of the truth and what they're going to get. And I think you have people that we're growing up, right? I'm 22 now, and that content it does not function with my brain anymore. It just doesn't fit. So I think I have an opportunity here to be effectively an antidote to a lot of the brain rot content that I myself engaged in. I know how to fix that because I engaged in it. You know, I'm not just doing it again like everyone else is. So whatever.
Well, and as you kind of just said there, the brain rot, you know, we talk about the perfect form of brain rot, or as some people in YouTube were actually trying to perfect and then promote to other people, as you talked about.
How to get 1,000 views in your first 30 days.
Right. Look at how good I can do with getting. I'll tell you right now, as a marketer, I've always told people when I work with them, hey, I can get you millions of views, but that's not what you want. right? What you want is you want to grow a community and you want to sell the product to the right people, right? Right? Unless you're just looking for awareness, right? There are awareness campaigns and they serve a purpose, absolutely. But at the end of the day, are you trying to sell your soul, or are you trying to sit there and be authentic, right? And genuinity and authenticity go a long way. And I would say if you're not going to be that, sure, you can find success, but are you really truly going to be happy? Or do you even have freedom? As you said, if you're going to be grinding every time somebody has to come out with some new trailer, right? Sit there and maximize.
I realized it would be more fun. Like, I enjoy sitting outside in the forest with my dogs, sometimes not even listening to music and just closing my eyes and just listening to the birds and the trees swing around me. And I realized when that's more engaging and more fulfilling and fun for me than playing VR, then VR's fucked. Okay, like if sitting outside and closing your eyes beats your product, it's over, right?
This brings a kind of a really nice spot, because this is kind of the reason I really wanted to talk to you, was because when I saw you sitting outside talking about this subject, I thought, hey, I agree with that guy. I grew up in Nebraska in a country area where I was always outside camping. I got to go to the lakes every time. I was hunting and getting to kind of be one with nature. And I really genuinely appreciate all of the good, the hot, the cold, just the wet, the dry. I just really enjoy
beauty in all of it.
Right. There's so
I
much
like
fun
sitting out there in the fucking pouring rain.
right?
I used to hate the rain because I'm in the UK and I get sick of it. I'm like, the rain all the time. But you go out into the forest and it's like, actually, the only reason I don't like the rain in the UK is that it makes the terrible architecture look worse, right? And it makes all the shitty buildings look worse. So it makes the city look really fucking sad. And it already is a sad looking city.
There's a psychological thing there, which we understand that part.
But if I'm in the forest, it's pouring with rain, it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Oh, and the sounds are beautiful too. And having said all that, like, I think in this situation, you're very at tune, where most people your age aren't as in tune with nature. And I think where you just said that you're able to kind of bring people to it, and so that's happening.
We got to talk about my age group.
But now here's the thing: is you've got a lot of people on YouTube in the comments messaging you saying, "Hey man, you brought me into VR. You brought me into this tech world, and now you're bailing on us. Now you're saying it's terrible."
Right? Are people saying that?
This is where, right? I've seen some comments, and this is where I want to sit there and express myself that, hey, I think that you can have both. You can have both understandings without needing to live in one world only. But I do want to ask you, right? You obviously see that there is value in VR. There's value in people coming together. Maybe if you live in a place where you can't communicate with other people, or if you're stuck in a hospital bed, right? There's the value that the virtual reality headset brings to people with social anxiety or things. But it doesn't stop there, right? I think that. And what do you think about that? Is that something that you think is still valuable for people to try?
The biggest value to me was, like, it being, okay, Half-Life Alyx could not have worked in any other medium. I was disgusted when people were trying to port it to flat screen, and they did it. And it's like, and people were playing it on flat screen, the modded version, and going, "This is shit. Like, what's good about that?" I'm like, you're missing the entire point. The atmosphere, the build up to certain sequences, the environments, the level design, the photorealistic looking graphics. Oh my god, it actually looked photoreal. You could look at, and I was just like,
photogrammetry.
The
awesome.
Hindrance was the index and the display. I was just like, I need a higher. I was like, I can't wait to play this with a high resolution display and a wider FOV. And we're like, how many years? It came out 2020. We're 5 years on, and we actually don't have a headset with a wider FOV and a high. I mean, you have the Pimax headsets, but dude, don't get me started on Pimax. Dude, not get me started on Pimax.
Since the days of the CV1, which you purchased, you had the CV1. You had a PC headset, right? That connected to your computer, that used the computer power. The games back then were higher resolution on average than what we're getting today.
I had more fun in my Oculus home just shooting the bow and arrow and the archery setup that I had. I had a sick archery setup. I had a nice ass house. And I loved that I had all of these achievements that I could put on the wall. When you play Robo Recall and you get an achievement, you would get it in your Oculus home. You could frame it. And I meticulously made this home, and I was like, this will matter in a few years. When VR keeps going, right, and we get high resolution headsets and the performance gets better, there'll be more people that I can invite over to my sick ass virtual home. And it actually serves a purpose that's more engaging than just a real life scenario, because a lot of the stuff you can do that you just actually can't do in real life. So there was a function to it, and it was more engaging than playing a flat screen game. But it's like nothing on. I mean, I like Breaches a lot. Breaches fun as fuck. Beat Saber's
Did you ever play
fun.
Echo? Did you ever play Echo?
Dude, I loved Echo. I loved Echo.
Okay,
And
okay.
I
was a
loved
big
Echo on
Echo fan.
PCVR. I loved it more on PCVR because the graphics were so good on PCVR.
Absolutely.
And if you get headset with good black levels as well, it looked so real sometimes. Just like and I remember these late nights where I was playing on my CV1 and I had a spinning chair. And I would play, and I would like have it high enough that like I'd kind of keep my legs off the ground, so I'd like the 0G thing, and I would like have a thing I could kick off of. So I was like, when I was like flying around again, I was like actually doing shit like this on my chair.
right.
So it was, dude.
Nice.
Those were some of the happiest moments of my life. Okay, you understand?
I'm with you, man.
So like
that was when I had
they
fun.
took, you understand, like to me, like when they take that away, it's like that. It's like something has gone so horribly fucking wrong. Like, oh my, I can't believe
they wanted to spread the player
we don't
base
have
out. I
this.
feel right. They wanted to spread the player base out, and it was detrimental because it took a lot of people out of VR, and it created Gorilla Tag.
But then it's this realization where it's like, if you literally are, Echo VR was still one of the like most played Quest games, and was like right up there on this, way more than any of these fucking games coming out now, right? Like it was actually up there. So it's like if the few thousand people that play that like can't facilitate like that game existing in a free-to-play state, and the cosmetics and the battle pass they had weren't like that, wasn't covering it just to keep the servers online. I'm like, oh my god, dude, this industry is not functioning. If this has to go down, then like all these other games
with
are
Echo,
going.
I believe they even
mentioned
mentioned that it wasn't a server cost issue. It was more of a
John Carmack explained that it was like John
Mm.
Carmack said that it was saying about trying to like the Quest OS was changing or something, and it would be like the format that the game was set up in because it was like tied to the old Oculus Home and a lot of that infrastructure.
Right.
It
They'd have
wasn't
to
as
redevelop
simple
some
as like
things.
but it was like, is it really like? Come on, like you can't just say that's it, finito.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like that's I just can't
like-
process that. I can't.
Every time Netflix has a popular show, they pull
I
it
wish I
because they
could
need
trust
the audience
them.
to keep
I wish
bringing new
that
people
their
in.
explanation, I could be like, okay, they're telling the truth about that, and like actually they couldn't port it over, and it was just like it was fucked. Okay, like. But I just don't believe them because I just don't believe. I look into Bosworth's eyes and I don't believe any of this. It's like
This goes right into my question of how do you feel about the direction Meta is taking VR? Are they making it better for the masses or just squeezing every dollar out of it, right? What's their purpose overall? Or are they just not thinking about that? Or are they just not properly managed? What do you think is the biggest issue when it comes to
actually
this?
cares. Like Zuckerberg actually gives a shit, and he's actually really jazzed about VR. Sort of the same way I am. Like I still love like games like Racket Club on the Quest. That's fun as fuck. So, like,
Nice.
I believe that he does actually care, and also like the dude's way more human now. Like now that he's getting on podcasts and doing long form conversations, it's like, oh thank God, because it's like it drops the veil for a moment, and you go, actually, like these people are some, but like clearly something like. Some of his ideology, it's getting just lost. Like as soon as it gets like a certain way down the tower, like by the time it's like to the general employees, it's like somehow that's just like lost. And like Meta's current direction is so detached from the things that even Zuckerberg seems to like believe in. So I mean, like maybe it's going to radically change soon, and eventually we're going to get like major improvements to Oculus Home and like actually like pushed for like the Ready Player One. Like, but even that, like I don't even believe in the technology anymore. Like I actually don't believe in the format and like spending time there because it's like it's too easily hijacked if too many people become reliant on it, and like now so many people are losing jobs in real life but having them replaced by AI because of these like increase in business tax. You have more people that will need to be reliant on like a universal basic income, or will have to like get a job in the fucking virtual world, and then it's like then all the media in that virtual world is just like controlled by whoever owns the virtual world, like IOI, you know. And it's like, and like maybe like we need Zuckerberg to be like the chill kind of hippie guy at this point, and just like guide us into it in like a likable way, and then like what happens when he goes and it goes to Bosworth, like, you know what I mean? It's like, even if you do trust Zuckerberg enough that he's gonna get it to like, hey, this is actually really fucking cool, I want to spend time here. And then, like, what happens when that leadership changes? Like, that's just like handing off the Matrix. That is handing off the Matrix to someone else and going, hey, behave. Don't hijack this for, like, you know, total, like, advertiser domination and fucking, like, you know, like, YouTube went that way. And you see the co-founders left, and the co-founders now spite the company, and are like, you know, the reason they, removed dislikes was, like, total bullshit. And it was just because they were protecting They were protecting like a handful of companies that were instrumental at that time, that were getting dislike bombed by the general public because they didn't believe their bullshit, and all these government videos that were getting absolutely bombed. So like clear, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're like removing dislikes to protect the community. BS, total BS. And then the co-founders also are like, yeah, it's BS. Like it's not the
illogical.
reason they say, like his name, Karud or what, Karim? I can't remember his fucking name. That guy was like, there is a reason, it's not a good one, and it won't be publicly disclosed. It's like, obviously, it's what it is.
Yeah, it's very obvious what this is, right? This is we can
Like,
understand.
why
that
can we
situation.
not believe that this is gonna happen? Like, if you know, the metaverse actually, we get back to like, you know, a potential for a Ready Player One like reality. What's
Right.
stopping
Well,
them?
you're kind of
resisting
making
that urge.
something. So I gotta say, I've been lucky enough to VR consult with a few companies over the years, and one question that always pops up right away, especially with founders who are looking to get into virtual reality, you know, more of 2018, 19, 2020 time period, they were always asking the question of, hey, which metaverse do I spend money on? Which metaverse do I
They
invest
got
money in? Right?
so bad.
And I would always tell them,
the millions lost.
right, you haven't invested money yet, have you? And sometimes they would say, oh yeah, I put a couple 100,000, I put 600,000 into this. Oh, which one, right? And whether it be,
You realize,
you know,
oh
I'm not
my
gonna
god, all these people
name
are
names,
stupid.
but most people don't even understand what the word is.
What
Right.
does
Most
this make
people don't
these
understand the
people?
word. I gotta ask you, what do you think is the best? Truly, at this point, because you know, Horizons is in my opinion not the best metaverse. What do you think is the best metaverse that people can actually spend time in using virtual reality right now?
I think you should just format your own metaverse. You have a selection of genuinely high quality artistic games that you believe in, you care about. Maybe even Batman Arkham Shadow is like, I haven't played it yet, and apparently it's fucking amazing. So like maybe you have Batman Arkham Shadow, maybe you have Breaches is sick, you have Racket Club, you know, you have Beat Saber, maybe you have Veil VR. I hate that so many people think I'm disingenuous about Veil, but just because I took sponsor money from them. They saved my ass with my engine when it blew the fuck up. And I like wasn't accepting money from them initially when I met them. I was like playtesting their game. I was getting to like talk about it with the developers, and like I like them as humans, and I trust them as humans.
Did you
and that's
label
why
the video as paid?
There's a tick box, but I'm so paranoid about whether or not I'm supposed to tick it or not. I make it very clear, like on the sponsor
It doesn't do
thing.
anything. It doesn't do anything other than just add the notification. That's all it does. That's all it does. There's no algorithm change.
Okay, like because I was going through
As a marketer, I can say there's no algorithm change.
Subreddits,
guys.
and like there are people in subreddits and like fellow schizophrenics who are like, no, if you label it like that, certain advertisers want like out of paid promotional videos. So
Right.
so it's like, how's that fucking fair? And
No, I'm gonna tell you right now. If anything, overall, because I work as a marketer, I work with lots of creators, I work with lots of companies, and overall, the data that I've been able to see with people much smarter than myself is that it actually is going to help you overall. It's gonna get you more paid collaborations overall, because people are going to say, ooh, wait a second, you know, this guy does this kind of stuff, and it's going to actually signify a little bit more in people's brains. You know?
I'll consider it.
So again, you don't have to ever do it. I'm not going to tell you what to do on your videos. My point is, it's never a negative thing.
I
Good for
click
the
it's
audience.
not AI generated. You know, I click
Right.
it's not, and I upload them in advance so I can check that they don't get caught for copyright. And I give them days to marinate, where like I get YouTube do all the scans, and then it's and then I still get demonetized for something that they won't tell me about. And then I have to repeal their bullshit, and then they go, oh, our bad. And I lost like 3 days worth of revenue. That's what happened with the UK video.
Yeah, well, at least you got to stay away from the copyright strikes, because as you said, you're not free to have your own content, right? They get to tell you what you get to put on your channel at the end of the day, so you got to pay attention to that.
They have a full like transferable rights agreement with everything you upload, so you can and like that means that they can then just like take your video from source and just pummel it into whatever AI they want or whatever advertiser database they want. And how many of these advertisers are just processing this data via AI? So it just goes into this fucking wormhole that gives you this ultra specific user data on absolutely everyone, and like and like that means my vocal intonations, my eyes, my facial expressions, like all of that may have just been thrown into that and just then eventually used to fucking destroy me, right? Like it's gonna end like this. We're all contributing to our own complete decimation. It's fucking terrifying. I think the thing is like, and these companies all did the same thing, where they just took your data anyway and started feeding it into AI, and then they waited until they got exposed for it, and then they go, oh, you can now opt out, and they had this update ready to publish. And the same thing happened with YouTube. It happened with all these fucking sites. They just started pulling it, didn't tell anyone about it, and then as soon as they got flagged for it, boom, you can now opt out of it. There we go, we fixed it, guys. But they still got this fucking like monumental like amount of data to just build it to begin with. It was like a calculated decision. They knew what they were doing. So like YouTube's done the same thing. So I can opt out of a lot of it now. But then
It's
what
yeah,
happens?
it's a little
What
too late,
happens
too
when you
far.
opt out of it? And then, like, they go, okay, we're not going to push this video as much because we're not getting data off of it. So they start pushing videos that they'll get more data off of that haven't opted out of the fucking AI program. So it's like, well, fuck. Like,
Right.
what
Right,
is
and
it?
I could say we're all complicit in that we try to use these services. YouTube puts up their servers, allows us to upload unlimited amounts of videos for unlimited amounts of time, basically to their servers, and they'll play them to people all around the world. So they provide this nice, wonderful service for us. But as you said, in the other values, now they take our data, they learn from it, they make money off of it. So even now in this, like for example, this podcast, hopefully the desire is the value that we're saying, the words that we say, are hopefully more valuable than the data they're collecting from us right now.
It scares me so
right?
much that like
Right?
the whole words that we say, they're now like indexing videos based off of like an AI that
Right.
reads the intonations
yeah.
on what you're saying. It's like, oh my god, dude. Oh
Well,
no, like you can push
the
that
thing is,
an inch in any direction you want.
The thing is,
so
I do care
scary.
about real people, right? And I do believe in this kind of this effect of the law, what we call it, the law of attraction or the power of now. Some people want to bring these things, the frequency, the tunage of things, whatever you say.
I agree.
I want to reach the right people. I want to reach the people that are needing to hear the right kinds of things at the right time. And what I also want to do is I want to get in people's heads and make them think a little bit, because I was a stupid, immature person, and I still am in many ways. But as I get smarter, when I meet people who are either giving bad comments or maybe critical or being silly, or I look at them and go, I see you're there. You're going to be here later. You're going to grow up. You're going to learn something.
We are fighting
right?
evil.
Yeah.
We are. It's
Oh,
actually like a multi-layered, interdimensional battle based off of vibrational waveforms that we're interacting
believe
with.
it.
You understand?
I actually believe that, my friend. I get to watch these here in America. We're watching everyday videos where they're talking about drones and UFOs and UAP and angels and demons. And this thing is whether you like it or not, it's kind of in front of you as a subject. And then you get to watch the media. You get to
Bro,
watch social media. You get to watch
I gotta go
AI.
pee. I gotta go pee, and then I come back and we talk about psychedelic drugs. Yes.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Let's do it.
Gotta go pee in the middle of the podcast. You can go pee too. No worry, I'll wait. Gotta go pee in the middle of the podcast.
I mean, when you're talking about the current state of the art, or you're talking about the technology?
I have spoken. So for me, like I was already like a little disillusioned with VR, and then when I started doing psychedelics last summer, like each time it would like it made virtual reality gross, like the idea of it gross.
Interesting.
I spoke to some other VR YouTubers who I know also like fucking dabble in interdimensional fucking travel, and they said the same thing, and they were like, hey, yeah, kind of it like fucked up their view of it as well, and they kind of started pivoting away from doing a more traditional VR videos and into doing like more exploratory pieces and whatever. And like some of them are fucking, some people are locked the fucking in this industry, like in terms of like they are actually fully awake, and some of them have been like immeasurable resources. So like those people are the best fucking people, and it gives me hope that actually some people are like, when drama like this happens, like with the whole video I did, and like so the response is like whatever it is, it's like, oh, this is really interesting because there's actually like clear degrees of like who's operating in different planes, and there's a whole group of people that are operating in this like completely like alternate timeline where like their
Right.
life is ass. Their life is ass, and they're like everything that they're attracting in that era is just like angry and hateful, and then it presents itself in this like standard basic ass content that doesn't have like, like you see at the end of my videos, I like the whole point of my videos, the reason I make a video is because it's at least now there has to be like some uptick at the end. It has to be, I'm talking about this negative stuff to get to the positive stuff, and that really this like video is a way to package this negative stuff and laugh at it.
I see
and
you as a
look at
very
it,
positive creator, personally. I don't think you're a negative guy.
The people who are like, oh, you're negative, I'm like, well, that's kind of like that's how you get into it. It's like, look at this negative thing, it sucks, let's laugh at it, and then therefore here's the things that actually matter, and you go to the things that actually like mean anything. And that's why like so much of my videos are set up. I don't talk about a topic if I can eventually like, I think about that first, like what's the positive thing I want to get to, and then I find a topic sometimes to overlap with it. So like my next video is just gonna be me ranting about the UK, but it's to get to like talking about a bunch of genuinely like fruitful things you can do in the UK that are like meaningful and help the local community. So like that, but that's what I have to get into it by like doing, and it's like I want to talk about that stuff, but I only want to talk about that stuff if I have like something of like, hey, look, this shit sucks, but like also we can just go sit in the forest and like, you know, chill out for a bit. You know what I mean? It's like that still exists.
Well,
So,
I want to say one thing is that what I find when you're talking to me right now is I talk to a lot of people who are creators, and some people just sit in their room all day long and don't get a move, and sometimes that's me, and that's not a good place to be. When you go outside, when you touch the ground, we know that you can kind of ground yourself with nature, and you can kind of connect and tune yourself a little differently. I personally believe that your process of being able to go outside, be with nature, is how you collect and connect with some of your ideas, and then you have to sit there and put them out there.
it's crazy how
right?
many of the answers like are actually just given to you if you step away from the engagement, and it's like actually like okay. Like, the way I see it is, like, you have your time for engagement content where you're bringing in outside information and then you're passing it through your own judgment. So when you watch a podcast and you, like, listen to things that we're saying and then it goes through your filter and you decide what is and isn't bullshit and what you do and don't want to take away from that. It still goes through your filter. Right, like
absolutely.
So, and then like some people's filters fucking suck, and they have like holes in them, and like half of it's fucking torn to shreds, you know. And it ain't filtering shit, you know. They got fucking lead and mercury going through that fucking thing. The pipes are fucked, you know. Like their filters suck. I have the best water filter. Okay, I got a Berkey water filter. It's got 2 carbon elements, goes the whole thing.
Quick ad break.
Yeah, basically, yeah, dude. My fucking local city had like a back. So the thing is, I was always talking about like, guys, why aren't you filtering your water? And they were like, what are you, conspiracy theorist? And it's like, no, dude. Have you seen what comes out of your pipes? And like, anyway, I have the filter, and like the water tastes so much better, and it's way less cloudy and shit. Anyway, the local water district, fucking whatever the fucking name is that supply the water. They were like, hey, we've had a outbreak of like bacteria that's gonna make you shit yourself for like 4 days straight. And
you gotta boil your water.
All these people were like up in arms. All these people in my city were like, oh my god, I can't believe they've let this happen. Oh, we're all shitting ourselves. You know, a bunch of people were just like shitting themselves to death. I was fine.
No problem, right? Filter worked great.
My shits were normal. They were getting normally sized, regularly, like on time. You know,
Conspiracy
no problems
theory that,
there.
right?
So I'm like, you know, why would you place your trust in this? Like, these fucking idiots, okay? Like, you see how many of them break and how bad, like, you go to some of the, like, processing facilities, because you can, like, I cycle past some of them and shit. You see how poorly maintained some of them are? It's like, oh my god. You know, it's like, that trust, that like blind trust, bothers me the most. And you see it in every industry, through like everyone in every like factor of life, whether it be people my own age that have this blind trust in their university, like that they don't like like their job, like the actual thing, the degree that they're training for is. So like one girl I went on a date with was training for like it was for an illustrations thing. And basically she was going to do graphic design and illustrate for companies. And like they need like a flyer or something. They need to, you know, like they have a car show going on. She would do the design for that. And that's at least what she was training to do. That's what the degree was in or whatever. And then like Photoshop or Adobe does this presentation on this new generative AI tool where you can like type, you can type in the text of like, you know, like your thing. You can be like, you know, like classic car show, and then you can like highlight it, and then you can like pick examples of what you want it to turn it into. You can feed it other examples, so you can get this, and it fucking looks good. And it's like, and it's like, you know, once you have it, it's like free from that point on. You're not paying, you know, someone, like you're not commissioning someone to do it for like, you know, $400 or whatever. And I'm like sitting there talking to this guy. I'm like, this is like everything that you're looking forward to doesn't exist. It's not happening. I mean, like, where's it going to go? Where's she going to apply that skill otherwise? And I was like, what do you think about this stuff? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And what do you mean you don't know? I'd be going, like, I'm already, like, freaking out over my position. Like, me criticizing, I'm not saying that I'm, like, even my shit. Like, there's YouTube channels like Movie Lots that have, like, hundreds of thousands of subscribers that are pulling millions of views off of entirely AI-generated videos now. And it's, like, getting past everything. And it's being viewed by AI-generated content as well.
Even the people that are getting, at this point, 2025, the people are realistic. I've seen some YouTubers where they're talking and moving their hands.
That's
and
insane.
I had to watch about 3 minutes of it before I went, oh, I see the repeat happening. Okay, it is fake. Wow, it's fake.
I know.
You know,
dude, the amount I've been recommended
specialist?
recently is crazy to me. And also, I see people around me who are like happy to sit through like AI generated reels or like AI generated narrations become so accepted. I hate it so much when it's like, look at this car crashing to this, you know, it's like, look at this, man. You know, it's like, it's obnoxious. And all these people that are willing to sit there and say, what does this add? You don't like this does this really aid engagement? I don't actually know if it does actually.
This to me is that word brain rot right here, because it's not valuable for people. It's not helping them. It's at the end of the day, it's taking things away from them. And I care about content that's going to be helpful. If I can watch something for 2 or 3 minutes, it means that it's going to be helpful for me or make me think about something. And I even want to say, when I started watching your video, I normally don't watch those kinds of videos just because I spent a lot of time in the VR world and I spent a lot of time watching VR videos, so I kind of got away from it. And so when I click on it, if there's not something kind of valuable or making me think, I'm going to disappear. And again, what kind of got me attracted to your content was the fact that you brought things in a very storytelling, engaging way. And even if you had an opinion about something, I might not share the exact same opinion that you had on every subject, but I still understood what you meant to say because of how you brought it to us. And I really appreciated that. And I also think that having a voice out there that says things that are a little bit critical are necessary, right? So when we see people that push back on that, it's always, as you said, people who maybe aren't applying the knowledge. They're just not taking the perspective or the time to look in some other shoes, right? So if you
also,
could,
a lot of it isn't that deep. It's not. None of it's that deep. It's like I'm saying it, and I'm like, I'm taking the piss as well, and like it's still
some of it is, but some of your
entertainment.
videos, right? It's entertainment, but you talk about subjects that are very near and dear to people's hearts,
Yeah,
right?
it's
When we
true.
talk about virtual reality, it's a tool that people use to communicate, right? Not just entertain themselves, but it's a communication tool. So as an entertainment tool, you might criticize it. And then people that love it for communication are listening to you criticize the entertainment side, and the communication people are getting mad. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm
Yeah, I
talking
think
about
those
something
people are
completely
being
different.
silly. These people
Right,
being
exactly.
silly is ridiculous.
Right.
Because like
But
this,
I do
is like,
understand
I make the
why.
video. You know what I do? I hit publish, and then I just go outside my house and I just sit in the forest. I'm dead serious. That's all.
You're allowed to have your opinions,
I sit in the forest. I hang out
Come
with
on.
my girlfriend. I go to the gym, and that's kind of I'm chilling. I play guitar sometimes. I have my Subaru works now.
Right.
At least for the time being. It will probably break again.
So you're getting right into it. Tell me what are the main focuses for you in general? Because you kind of mentioned you've got your girlfriend, you've got your dog, you've got your car, right? You've got a YouTube channel which doesn't have to be specific to VR. So
Yes.
where is that going in the future? And again, what do you want to focus your time on here in the next? What's next for Charlie if here in the next 3-6 months, a year, right? What's your focus?
The latest video is like me completing the reincarnation of what I'm trying to do now. And those videos are way easier to produce in that they don't need to be as long. They need to be like 10 minutes, 30 minutes long or whatever. And they don't need to be edited as much. Like it's way quicker for me to make the latest video. Virtual reality isn't fun anymore just because of like the nature of it shot outside and having the alternate camera takes or whatever. It's way easier than having to download all this extra footage and then overlay it and do all of this fucking lonely. It still took way too fucking long. It took way too long to make, but I can do it quicker this time. And that way, I don't have to spend 6 weeks editing a video, and it means that I can actually spend time with the people I care about, because I realize that there's no way for me to sustain a life or a family or anything if I am sat, like, for fucking 6 weeks straight, like, in the dead of night. Like, I'd start work at, like, sometimes, like, 12 a.m., is that right? Like, yeah, like 12, 1 a.m. or whatever. And then I would work all through until, like, 9 a.m. and I go to sleep. Like, my sleep schedule got fucked, completely cooked. So I had to fix that. And then when I fixed that, my girlfriend appeared. And that was like, oh, that's interesting. So, like, the synchronicities that have followed my life in the last, like, 4 months really since like the last mushroom trip I did with a high school friend of mine. Like, I hadn't seen him in fucking ages. We met up again and we spent like 3 hours sat in the forest, tripping and talking to each other and catching up and like actually spending a moment to fully recollect my life up until that point so I could respect where I'm going next, because I just put down like a sword with the YouTube kind of sucks now video. And I was like, I have to figure out what's next. And that's when I came up with like, hey, why don't I just shoot it out here, whatever. And like, I had those answers. And then I also like had set myself up in a position where like I like could actually meet my girlfriend and not have my life sucked away by Sony Vegas crashing for 465 times, you know? And it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Like, once I'd done that, it was
I
just
know.
like synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity, and one thing led to another. And then it's like, now I just have to not fuck this up. If I fuck it up, then I guess I'll go live in the woods or something. There's a guy that lives in the woods by where I am. And sometimes I cycle past him and I envy this guy because he's like chilling. He's got a tent. He's got a really nice spot. He's got a great view. And it's like he's got shit in the woods. And sometimes like I've seen it. Like not him shitting, but I've seen the shit.
I was gonna say, wait.
And I go, that's human shit, you know? Whatever. Besides that, that's not so fun.
Life in the woods.
But besides that, like the dude's got he's got propane and stuff, you know? Propane's cool, man. You know, when you see someone walking around with a can of propane, you're like, what is this guy doing? But this guy he's got, I know, you're like, there's a weird degree, but you're like, this guy's, what is this, Agent 47? This dude's on a fucking mission. God damn, this guy, I don't have a can of propane. I need to get myself a can of propane.
Hey, as you mentioned, though, I got to say, the thing I think people are, when they hear people like yourself saying something like, oh, everything's aligning, I got synchronicities working, I know if your life's going great, you're like, yeah, go for it, keep it up. But if your life's not going great or you want those things, you're thinking, man, I wish I had that too. And I like to just focus on that. Just,
it repeats and permeates itself. Because
and the recipe to that.
Right before I fixed like the way I was thinking, and that lead up to that mushroom trip, the way I was thinking was like, I was stressed out because of the video. And the video was still good, but like I still hated it until I'd watched it for like the 15th time, and then eventually I went, okay, I like this video. I had to show it to enough people that I was like, okay, I actually want to publish this, and then I really like it. When I finally like it, I really like it. But anyway, like in the lead up to that time, I was fucking depressed. Because like a lot of these facets of my life were failing, and I was trying to like make this switch happen, and I felt like shitty, and I hadn't been depressed in a long time, and then shit around my life started going to shit. Like as I was depressed, and this stuff was like I was figuring shit out with my dating life and the fucking career, and then my dog died, like my oldest dog died, and then
it's tough.
some like. It was like, okay, so like, then like a following day, like a couple days later, I was just walking my other dogs, and like a couple was like walking down this hill, and like where we walk, the dogs are off the leash, right? Like people walk all the dogs on this, it's just like a big open field place or whatever. And some people walk in and they're not prepared to like deal with dogs like coming up to them and saying hello. And my dogs are friendly. Right, they just kind of like, they walk up to people and like sniff other dogs, and that's it. And it's like everyone knows to just kind of keep moving, keep walking, and like the dogs separate and it's fine and there's no problem, right?
Yeah,
so,
they won't bother you.
I do it every morning and it's fine. And then this couple come up and they're like kind of like sheepish and they look anxious. And I'm down the bottom of this hill. They're like up here, and I'm walking with my dogs. A couple of my dogs go up to greet them, and they have like a little girl with them, like, you know, like she was like young but she was short.
Okay.
So I think they were worried about like her, like the dog's like bumping her in the face or something.
Makes sense.
And,
Makes sense.
So like, but they had a puppy with them as well, and they had an older dog, and the man had the older dog, and the lady or the wife or whatever, she had the puppy and the child was like 5 years old or something. Or at least looked like this looked like a big child, right? This is like half a human. This was not like a toddler.
Okay.
And she was carrying her like a baby, and she had a puppy in the other hand. So my dogs come up to them, and my dogs do nothing. It's just one of my dogs, Ollie, goes up to them and just like stands there and goes hello. And then the puppy, because the puppy like is just big dog, the puppy just barks at Ollie and takes like a jump back, and he doesn't pull the lead or anything. But the woman, by the dog just jumping, it made her jump, and she jumped like so bad that she centered herself and just fucking threw her child. This kid did like a double backflip across the field, slammed on the ground like it was like a WWE slam. And I couldn't get. I was at the bottom of this fucking hill just watching this play out in front of me. And I was like, and it was right after I'd had like one of the most depressive fucking conversations with myself out in the woods. And I'm like, you cannot be serious. Like this was like the lowest point I got into, where I just like my existence, my mere being in this spot spot, even though I had done fucking nothing. But if I had been like a few minutes late or a few minutes before, I would have been avoided. But of course, my existence being here in this moment leads to this kid maybe having fucking brain damage. This woman slammed this child. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was the worst parental response I have ever seen. And the guy did nothing. He just stood there with the dog, bewildered, didn't go to rush and pick. I ran up the hill and I was like, I realized I got up there and I shouldn't touch this guy's wife and I shouldn't pick up the child. So I just kind of go,
nope.
I just kind of stand there like, like, oh shit, what's up? And then the guy's like, oh, your fucking dogs, mate. And I'm like, they're here, they're fine. And like the dogs were bewildered. They were like, what is going on? And like the guy is just like stood there with his dog and she's like trying to get up and the kid's crying and I'm stood there and I'm like, what am I meant to do here? So I just go, I haven't said anything yet. And he's looking at me like he wants to kill me and I just go, Jesus. I had nothing else. I just went, Jesus. I went, sorry about that.
All right, there we go. Apologies.
They're friendly. I didn't see what they did. And he just didn't like say anything. He was just like, you should like, he was like, if you can't control your dogs, they should be on a lead. And I was like, that's not fair. Because the dog hadn't done anything. He didn't, so I just had to go. I just went, maybe. And I just turned and I walked. Because I was like, I don't want to get in an argument with this guy, but I also cannot say yes. I just go, and I just left. Right. And then eventually I told my mother, I was like, yo, you got to go talk to these people because they're pissed off. Anyway, I come with her and like she goes and talks to the people and eventually they're like totally chill. They're like, no, it's all good. Don't worry about it. And they like, they said that our dogs didn't even do anything. They said that they thought one of them barked, that was it or whatever. And they made up and it was all fine. But like still, and apparently, and then when my mum caught up to them, the child who previously could not walk is walking. Guys. The child is walking. I'm like, why was she ever carrying the kid to begin with?
Because she was scared the dog was going to attack the child.
No. She was carrying. I could see through the trees because it's winter. Gotcha. It's bare. I could see them coming down from a distance, and like, my dogs were ahead of me, so I didn't have time to like go get them on the leash. They were because like the trees were separating us, and I could see she was already carrying this kid. So I'm like, wait, what are you doing carrying a 5-year-old?
Mom workout,
with a
right? Mom workout.
Puppy.
Hey, it's a mom workout, all right?
Anyway, they put the kid down.
Pick up that baby.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, that happened.
Right.
Then I
compound the bad day.
And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do mushrooms tomorrow with my friend. I was debating canceling it with him and be like, I cannot do this. I was like, this is fucked up. So eventually I was like, actually, maybe this is a reason to do it because it was still like this path of synchronicity that happened with me. And and then I had gone on a date with a girl also like the day before that had happened, and or like a couple of days before that had happened, and I was very sleep deprived on the date because I'd spent like almost 24 hours editing the previous video because I was trying to get enough done that I could show her and get her thoughts on it. Because she was a writer, so I just wanted to know what she thought about it. So I spent like 24 hours trying to get it done, and then I went to the date, and I was solid for 2 hours, like I was great at the date. I was fucking locked in and like charming and likable Ryan Gosling, basically every adjective or whatever description word, nouns,
flexing with the
nouns.
script and saying,
I don't know what a noun is, but anyway, yeah. So like. Great for 2 hours, and then eventually I was like, I am so tired. I can't. I was honestly overwhelmed. And eventually I just took her to the train station and dropped her off. And she also thought the Subaru was fucking cringe. And I was like, sucks to be you, Anyway,
my spoiler, yo, what's up? Right.
Anyway, she this was like, I just before I'd like left the date, the day before, I'd just been told my dog had died. So like before the day, I'm in my car because I had to get there like 2 hours early to dodge the traffic. I'm just sat in my car, like thinking like I should probably spend this moment to like actually think about my dog and like not, like actually process it properly, And I'm trying to process it, and I'm sleep deprived, and then I have to like act like I'm not upset on this date and like be totally like charismatic.
Right, you got to be extra. You got to be extra you on that day, right?
So like fucking anyway, like this thing with the kid happens the next day or whatever, and then I also get a text from this girl being like, she was like, she didn't want to see me again because she was like, look, you're really really nice, and like I enjoyed our date at the restaurant we've gone to, and she was like she for a really nice fucking thing, but she was like, honestly, I feel like there's a deep sadness within you. She was like, a deep sadness emanated from you.
Whoa.
Like,
Whoa.
shit, actually,
Pretty deep,
like,
right?
It's fucked up, but it is true. And I was like, how did she fucking clock onto that? I thought I'd masked that, but she clocked onto it. And I was like, damn, okay, I'm like, actually, you were right. I was like, I can't even blame you for that. It was also because she was moving away to Wales, so she was like, there's no way this is going to fucking, I'm not driving fucking 3 hours or whatever the fuck. So, anyway, all these things happened in the same, like, time frame. And the only good thing was getting that video out. And then...
and the response was awesome.
Then the response... the response was kind of ass because I got bombed with all the Turkish bots, which was not cool. But actually, it's doing okay. I think it'll eventually do well. But then the next day, go out with my friend, do mushrooms in the forest, and he gives me like a reality check because I tell him about everything that's going on at the time, and because he knew me in high school, we got to like think about like all the shit we went through in high school and the relationships we had, and like the fucking these events that at the time seemed so, like the center of our life, and like our lives were fucking ending or just starting, whatever. And like these big events that felt huge to us, now when we look back on them, we go, actually, like these were like fucking, it's like it's not a big. And it's like the same way that's not a big deal. The stuff that's happening now isn't that big of a deal. And actually, like all things considered, we're doing pretty good. Like we like this is just like part and parcel of being like an early 20-year-old. And I realized that the same. Also, like, I won't go into like all of the dude. Psychedelics are a fucking rabbit hole, man. I'm reading this book, The Psychedelic Experience by Timothy Leary. It's fucking insane. And also, like,
yeah, actually, I know this book. It's a great book.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm like halfway through it. But like everything so far has been like that is how it is. Like, at least that's how I applied the things that I'd learned in the first half of the book. And actually, a VR YouTuber had recommended it to me because I was asking him about it, and he was the one who sent it to me. But yeah, great fucking book. But anyway, the point is like you realize that actually.
Can you mention who it was? Can you mention who recommended it?
He like
no.
Look, it's if you look at the VR YouTubers, it would be the most obvious guy. Like it's the most obvious guy. We go, oh okay, like now this makes sense. All these video essays and whatever. I'm not gonna say anything more. It's just because he doesn't want like
have an idea.
The image being like
It's all good.
Because like there's still people in it. You see how uptight some people still are, and how formulaic you can see who is and isn't awake when you look at the content. You can see who is and isn't awake, and it's very very obvious. And it's like that's so annoying because this is part of the thing is like each time I did psychedelics, it just diminished the like the disingenuity of a lot of the content, and that the content like that the like ego you hold with like the framework that you place over everything in order like this is what like how I should operate within this niche in this industry, and
this
you have,
is the
like,
face
your
this is the role I'm
stuff.
playing.
Yeah, exactly. So like people be like, okay, like so the people who are doing like these really formulaic quest update videos or whatever that I did for a while, they're being like, well, it pays the bills and it gets the viewership, and like like I just got to do it, and people want to know this information, and it gets viewership after all, so therefore like it is what it is. And it's like I totally get that point of view. But there's to do that and to put on that face and to like speak to camera and actually be like, hey, so here's what's new in the new quest update. Like you can see in their eyes that they don't really care that much. They're just doing their job. It's the same way when you go to like a store and you can clearly tell that the employee doesn't want to tell you about the new fucking Lenovo whatever the fuck laptop, and you're like, and you feel bad for even asking, and it's like, but you need the fucking things. And you're like, you tell me about these Skull Candy headphones, and he's like, he wants to say these are the biggest piece of shit on earth. And like he can't say it, whatever. Like this is part of the thing with the meta-creative thing is like that feeds into the whole meta-creative program. The way that functions, it feeds into everyone being in this rigidity where if they use the affiliate codes and they cover things on time and they use the early access that they have to like Batman Arkham Shadow or whatever it may be, if they leverage that, then like to leverage it, they actually have to be in this like system and this formula and this upload schedule and whatever. And the content can't be so creatively inclined because it still has to meet check boxes for other people. So it's an industry.
Fit the algorithm.
Yeah. So like that thinking process has become an industry, and that scares the shit out of me. And it's like I've talked to other VR YouTubers, and I've brought up the psychedelic question to them before, and they've been dead, and these are like some big fucking channels have been dead honest with me and be like that they don't want to try it because they worry that it's going to fuck up what they're doing currently, and they're going they know that because deep down I think they know that what they're doing isn't aligned with like who they are so much, and that they've maybe they were interested in VR a couple of years ago, but now it's just become a job and it's just like repetitive and like they're just covering whatever. So they actually do hold this fear of like, I know that what I'm doing could be shattered into a million pieces, and I don't want to go there, you know?
That's what prevents people from doing most things that are going to transcend themselves. It's just simple fear, right? So it's a whole mile wide but an inch deep, and you can actually just jump right in and have fun with it. But to what you're saying right now, I feel like I have a unique perspective because, you know, for the younger generation that kind of knows more of your content, I say younger because we're a little bit different. I'm 36 years old, right? And I started making content, you know, years and years ago, again, for fun, just as a hobby. I like to do video editing. And back when virtual reality started, I was a VR developer. Making virtual reality games was something that nobody else was doing because they didn't exist yet. And so I started making videos of this. And over time, you know, when we started getting into this VR content creator world, as I mentioned with Meta, there wasn't a program at the beginning. And what happened to me was I went from being a free creator to every once in a while I started getting invited to go to some Meta things. I started getting invited. Well, at the time it was Facebook. And when I would get to go to these things, I thought, hey, this is great. But what happened is right around 2016, 17, 18, as I was working with some developers and working with Meta, they started saying, hey, Caleb, can you take down this video? Can you edit this? Can you redo this stuff?
On this stuff. I had some
and I
wacky
started
shit
going, wait a
happen to me.
second. Yeah. I started going, wait a second.
I can't talk about Pimax because of
I don't
these
have
reasons.
I don't have any contract with them at the time. And they would tell me, hey, who's your ambassador? You guys have never I never had an so we had kind of these issues where they would tell me to do content. And I'll tell you right now, what made me truly stop wanting to do VR content overall was that nitpicking, that grind feeling to just be a part of things. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to make fun content with my friends, and I wanted to hang out with developers, and I wanted to be a part of the community and be part of the community, right? And so even that's what I want to do right now is just kind of bring more insight and more depth to conversations and just be a cog in the network of things, but also tell people to go outside and, hey, take the headset off every once in a while and breathe deep and get some of these other values.
But when people
right?
are like, they deny that this like push in the industry exists, and they're like, really, it's all optional and that you don't have to be a part of it or whatever. I have no point here.
Right.
I had a point,
when you're talking,
and then
yeah.
I forgot the point because I don't care that much about the point, so I relinquished the point.
Right. No, and to what you're saying though, when we talk about people that get up, you know, into this VR content creator world of things, you don't have to worry about that now. You're not doing VR content anymore.
The people that say so, the stuff I talk about, like in like the latest video. And people that claim that like a lot of that stuff doesn't exist, or like the manipulation or whatever, like some of the or the affiliate programs or like companies pushing you a certain direction. I mean, not that people like totally outright disagree that doesn't happen. It's that the ones that are kind of like, nah, that's not really like they think that they know what's going on because they're also a VR YouTuber, but they've not considered the fact that some people may operate differently with them than how they would operate with other people, and that some people are not like as maybe morally righteous as them, and they flip-flop between two different domains, and that maybe with you have a great experience with this company, but I maybe have a fucking terrible one, and I have one where they try and get me to take down shit, and I have one where they don't like certain critical opinion, or they don't like the way that I've said something, or whatever it may be, and maybe your content's a little bit safer, or maybe that you're in with those people in that company, so when you do say something that's a little more critical, they like you personally on a different level. Whereas, like for me, especially when I'm young and all the prejudice I faced just because I was like a young, annoying, like 18-year-old, like I get it. I fucking hate 18-year-old me more than like literally anyone. Like, because like obviously,
hey,
so
respect yourself. It got you to where you are, right?
Yeah, I don't regret it, but it's still like objectively, it's like if I'm in these other people's shoes, like I'd look at me the same way. But the lack of self-reflection is fucking astonishing, and especially when it's like the people who are like, I get the impression. The only way I get this impression is because I read like one of my previous editor's defenses for me, where he was like standing up for me on the Twitter, whatever was happening on Twitter, and it sounds like some people just like watched my content maybe even a year and a half ago and didn't like it then, and they haven't seen any of my new shit at all. They haven't seen like any of my last 3 videos, which are like drastically, because they're all months apart, or they haven't watched the UK Has Cooked or whatever. So they're missing all of that, and they're just basing it off of like the weirdest Quest 2 accessories video they watched or whatever. And it's like, come on, yo. I wouldn't do that to them. I don't get how it's... these are adults as well. These are adults.
Criticism never comes from the top,
dude.
right? They always say criticism never comes from the top, and you also don't get content creators who are going to actually do things and have effort, who know what you've been through, giving you criticism either, right? They might have a different opinion than you, but as far as being actually critical. It usually comes
Yeah,
from
the
people who aren't
assumption that
doing what
like
you're doing,
everyone has
right?
had the same experience in this industry. It's like, what, huh?
Right. Well, and so I want to ask you that, right? Because as I mentioned myself, is, you know, I had some good opportunities early on with Facebook, with virtual reality when it first started, you know, working out, where they bought over Oculus from Palmer Luckey. But it's shifted quite quickly for myself. And as I said, or as you said, many of my friends had great experiences, whereas I saw friends getting fired. I saw people giving me problems. I saw people being very passive aggressive with me in emails as well, right? And this just rubbed me the wrong way. So you know what I started doing? I started making videos about random stuff, about traveling. And even now, when you talk about how people, you know, talk about products, I make random product videos, not because I'm paid for it, but because I just genuinely want to make videos and edit them. And kind of, I want to do this host stuff where people see me as hosting products. So I make them myself for fun, right? But if you don't know me, if you don't talk to me, you'd probably think, man, that guy's a shill. He's just marketing nonstop product after product. Well, nobody's paying me, right? As far as what I'm doing on the average day. So I guess my point to you right there is that not only are we going to be creators regardless, you're going to be making videos regardless because it's what you want to do. The flow of where we go has to do partly with support, partly with our passion, partly what's desirable. And as you also mentioned, you know, being able to be at one with nature, maybe do some shrooms or do, hallucinogens. These things are going to put us in a place where we can think about things much differently. And I really genuinely enjoy how VR allows me to show people ideas, whereas I can't give them a drug all the time, right? But as you mentioned...
Well, that's
you know,
what Half-Life
think...
Alyx was good for, because Half-Life Alyx in of itself, especially the back end of that game, is so psychedelic in some of its visuals.
Right.
It's so intense, and the fucking back end of it, it's like, oh my god, dude. These people are fucking true creatives. Like, they're making this in VR because they can't do it in... They had a vision that they needed to convey, and this is the medium to convey it. They built a whole headset around conveying this vision. So, it's like, for people to miss that and take this format, and it's like with everything, man. It's with every other industry. They've taken it, they've captured it, they've fucking capitalized on it, they've made it super consumer friendly, and now something that was at the very brink of like creative development and like these fucking like hardcore creatives like Palmer Luckey, who's building these headsets in his fucking garage. These people are now thrown to the fucking back, and like the train's led by this like total monopolistic control on the entire industry. And it's like, there's some good comes out of that. You get Batman Arkham Shadow out of that, great. But like, still, we're now forced into a smaller position than we were in before, and a less genuine position. Because then what happens to all those creatives? They fuck off and they leave. They might come back a few years later, right? Like, and people like, well, they'll come back to this like technology and do something cool with it again. But the current like space we're in right now, I can't imagine making another fucking Quest update video like for the life of me. That's so crazy to me. And for it to be the same people that have been doing the last 3 years, it's like, how is this not grated against you? How doesn't this grate against your conscience? You know, like, is this really all you are?
And so I got to ask, did Meta ever come to you and ask you to be a part of their creator program? And so you said...
Yes, multiple times.
Right.
Yeah, so the whole thing when people are like, oh, it's jealousy or whatever, or they excluded you, they don't know what they're talking about.
Uh-huh.
It's like, and then I was like, the thing is like, I can't, I like, I'll say it here, but it's like when, for the videos and stuff, it's like, I want to show an email or something, but they have like a stamp, a confidential stamp, so I guess I can't like fucking, or whatever. So it's like, I just say it offhand in the video, like that, like I outright stated in my last video that they came to me like multiple times. So
exactly.
But like the previous times when people have, like I brought it up before, and people have given me shit for it, it's like, and when people are like, we didn't sign any non-disparagement agreements or whatever. Maybe they didn't, but they gave me one, okay? Before I could even engage in talks with them, not that I even responded to their fucking email, but they were like, to get started, they wanted me to sign a non-disparagement agreement. So when people are like, there is no non-disparagement agreement, it's like, maybe for you, because they knew that you weren't going to be disparaging to begin with, so they didn't fucking give you one. But for people like me, they go, uh-oh, like, we need to get this guy a non-disparagement agreement. You know what I mean? It's like, and I know other creators that also got handed one, and others that didn't. So it's like...
Well, it's not just the agreement issue. Back in the day when it was
more
early
going
on
here. It's almost as if there's more going on here. And
they treat certain creators differently. And they give embargoes differently, at least in the past, right? And I'm not trying to be here Mr. Complainer person, but this is something where when people are trying to work together, or you're in a team or a community, and you're working on content, and you see some people can put something out earlier than you, well, they get all the views, and then all of a sudden the desire and the passion to want to put something out, because if you're playing by the rules, or if you're trying to be a good person and do things the right way, you don't get the the views that other people are going to get, you know? So I just learned quite early on that if I wanted to kind of keep my morals, if I wanted to keep my true values, that I wasn't going to be able to grow as quickly as I saw some other creators. And then very quickly, my desire to want to grow at all diminished. And the moment I saw that you could buy subscribers, and the moment you could buy views, my desire to get millions of views, my desire to get millions of followers completely diminished. And so now I love YouTube as a place to put my content, but I also really like connecting with real people in the world.
I only make videos for
right?
myself. Like, I make videos that I watch. Like, I rewatch YouTube Kind of Sucks now. I rewatch The Internet's Dead. I like those videos. And it's not an egotistical thing. It's like, I make the videos for myself because I know myself better than I know any audience member. So it's like, I'm actually not trying to change. Like, I have like some ways that I know how to like functionally market a video, but it's like let's be honest, my thumb, like, even if people accuse me of clickbait now, my thumbnail, like, which I think they just see the color red and they go, oh, well, they see an engaging thumbnail and go, oh, this is clickbait. And actually, like, no, my title is actually exactly reflective of what I'm talking about. At least in all my recent content, it's been like, I made a point out of being like, this is what the video is about, you know, like, very clear. So like, it's I would like this is not easy, and like it would be easier for me to just like keep farming quest update videos for the time being and just like lean into clickbait and maybe offload my shit to AI and just like take that get a video out every couple of days and just take that short-term revenue. My viewership overall would decrease, but I'd still like the channel would still get pushed enough because I'm just like, you know, I'm outright sharing it with fucking updates or whatever and videos.
Sure.
So like that would be the easiest path for me to take. This current path is not like financially fulfilling. Like, I'm barely fucking scraping by with this. Like, I'm trying to pull up the fucking plane before I fucking hit the ground. Like, I'm very fucking, I'm like on a thin wire here. So this latest video, I needed this latest video to do well, and it's like 74K or something. So thank God, like, it's doing well enough that I'll like fucking, I have some breathing room. And I finally paid off the rest of my fucking tax, so I'm good. And my engine is fixed now. So like, I have a chance. I have a chance to fucking like pull the fucking plane up. So I can't fuck up this next video, and this current video, I'm like, thank God it's doing well. But the point is like, this is far harder than like just me being like, let me do another update whatever the fuck. That'd be the easy path. So it's not even like it's not even like I'm being spoiled. I'm choosing that I'm intentionally picking a hero's journey because I feel like it's morally correct.
And as you're saying right now, I want to put some sense in there because I get to talk to people on a kind of a daily basis. And this theme of feeling like, oh, I'm doing something hard versus the easy way. I agree with you. If you went the easy route, you could be successful, but you wouldn't be happy. And
it's harder on your mental. Like sitting through and editing those videos is so much harder. When I edit the YouTube Kind of Sucks now, I'm like kicking my feet like a child. When I make some of the edits, I'm so happy with that. I'm like, yes, it worked.
This is where I really care about the brain. I think we tune ourselves to the things that we want, and then we tune ourselves to bringing good things to us. When you're doing when we're doing shrooms, when we're doing things where we're actually at one with nature, or we're tuned with nature, more good things come to us. When you're outside in nature, the good thoughts come to you, right? When you're depressed, bad things come to you. The dog goes and barks at somebody, the kids get sumo-plexed onto the ground, and kind of this thought process is, well, okay, so I kind of get to steer my day. So the one thing I would say to you even now is, earlier when you said like, all I have to do is not fuck it up, right, with my life. If things are going well, I have to just not do. You're right. But my mindset is always that opposite of, I just have to do well, right? Focus on what you want. Don't ever focus on the things you don't want, because then you run into them, right? Whereas if we just focus on what we want, it's going to be good. And I really, really genuinely appreciate the value that you bring towards just being authentic, going towards a direction that might not be easy, might be unknown, but overall is going to be way more fulfilling, bring you way more revenue, more income, more opportunities, the right kind of people. So I think that people need to look at you as an inspiration, as a role model, and say, hey, it doesn't matter if you're having a successful audience in one place. You are a successful person. You're a successful video editor. You're a successful storyteller. Okay, and that's not going to stop no matter what genre you go into. Like, how do you define it? How do you define the word success? Right. So that's actually kind of the way that I always try to end the podcast, actually, which is, if you could give me just a few ingredients to put together, what ingredients would you put together that would create success for you, right? Because that word is subjective towards every person. What are your ingredients for success?
Dimethyltryptamine and cocaine, probably. That would be a pretty powerful start. Jesus Christ.
All right, so chemical cocktail?
Dude, I don't know. I think if people just actually start spending more time out, like, I think part of like the problem here is like people's actual day-to-day lives then it's not actually that great. So obviously, like everything in the virtual one or what's happening on X or what's happening on YouTube is immediately more engaging. But as soon as you balance that out and suddenly real life's more engaging, I'm very fortunate to have a forest near me and I can just walk out to and hang out in and walk my dogs in. Like, I'm so fortunate to have that, and the views there are so fucking insane, and a lot of people don't have that. And that's really where, like, if I'm spoiled in any way, that's, like, what it is. That the fact that I have that, and I know people who don't, is like that's not lost on me at all. So when people are, like, saying that I'm being ungrateful about other things, it's like, what are you talking about? You are being ungrateful about what the fuck is out there, you know what I mean? So, as soon as you have that, then immediately you have this like basis for comparison for everything else. It's like if everything, when you go back inside and you go back on the computer and do your work or whatever, and like go to do whatever makes you your revenue, and it's not stacking up with what's out there, like, you have this like critical imbalance. Like the two need to be somewhat aligned. And that's why I'm moving all my shit to shooting it outside, because now I enjoy every part of. I script write outside. I would take my PC outside, but I do like having some indoors time, listen to some albums, and just edit away. So like set up an infrastructure for yourself to actually like value the things that are supposed to be valued the most, rather than like fucking if everything is just going in rather than you listen, like it's just being pounded into you, like fucking everything on Twitter and fucking all that shit is like it's going in, and it's not like you're not listening. It's not like you're sat out in quiet trying to listen for something and like come to your own conclusion. It's like you're getting a lot of answers and you're not actually like. Anyway, just get away from that. Turn off the phone, put it in airplane mode. Mine's in airplane mode all the time. You get the point. Stop. Notifications are stupid. When notifications come on, that is the most ridiculous thing ever. I can't believe there are fully grown adults that live like that, where their phone just goes off. And it's like, and how do you not, that it doesn't interrupt your train of thought? And it does. I see it. It interrupts their train of thought. And it's like, we were just having a good conversation until like your phone went off, and it's like, you know, it's like, you feel this fucking this interruption, this jolt. So you don't like get as deep with other people. It's why like other people in my age range, it's like, yeah, good luck interacting with them. It's not like I spend a lot of time alone listening to Tame Impala instead, you know. It's like that's my fucking preferred method of like operating. So I think if you're like creatively inclined, maybe spending more time alone, and then that way you're forced to deal with, you have time to process everything that you've like been neglecting. And by the time you leave your walk or you leave your forest or whatever, you've had time to box everything up and like put everything and structure it in your mind to be like, okay, best foot forward. Now you've cleaned your mental room. It's done. And you can go back into your life and you're like, that's what I do every morning, and I usually fix most shit. It's very rare I come out of the forest and I'm still like, oh. I don't think it's ever happened. Right. Anyway, dude, very good. Good luck with your podcast and everything. The reason I came on this because I saw, I watched like the beginning of one of them, and you actually had like a proper introduction. It was actually well edited, and I was like, oh, okay, like you actually are serious about your shit. You actually like, and it's also not like over the top. It's not overkill. It's very functional, highly functional. Like, let's get straight into the actual content. I need to know as a viewer, like, why is this relevant to me? Who is this person? I have no idea who the fuck they are. And then immediately have like this like quick description, boom, straight into it, and it's like, okay, now the stakes are set. There's the podcast, and it is what it is. At least that's what I saw on one of them. I don't know how long you've been doing that, but.
I'm gonna totally make you look crazy. No, absolutely, man. Overall, I do want to thank you very much. Honored to have you here, because overall, I want to connect with people who are like-minded, doing cool things in the industry, and just really trying to push themselves and the people around them. And the fact that you make content that is not just engaging, but it does all those boxes, ticks all those things. I really appreciate you as a creator. I'm looking forward to your next video, truly. And when it comes to just pushing forward, I want to give you the confidence, at least from over here, that hey, from what I see, I don't think anybody can watch your content and not see somebody who's skilled, who's talented, and who has a desire to at least try to better themselves. Whether you have every opinion again that somebody's going to agree with right now, who cares, right? We grow as people, and our point is to actually be purposeful, to be intention, you know, with positivity, as opposed to just being out there for no reason whatsoever, as you said, asleep. Right? We want to be awake. And as much as I try to make content that's good for myself, I really just want to reach individuals out there and speak to them in some way. And again, you said so many things today when I was listening that I think can resonate with people. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Wiltshire.
Thank
you
for
very
being
much.
one of the only people who talk to me.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. All right. And...
This one guy this one dude reached out to me. He was like, he's like, there are multiple things wrong with your Pimax video. And then, like, anyway, he listed a few things, but none of them were actual reasons. Like, he said stuff like, you said that the lenses are too, look like they are two lenses combined, because for the wide FOV it needed to be like a Fresnel lens in the middle, and then there was another lens attachment around it, and they were kind of like melded together. And and like he said that you said that they were like, it looked like two lenses combined together. They're not actually that. They're and then he re-described two lenses being together. No, he was like, it's actually one combined. Yeah, he said it's one combined lens piece, and which is achieved by welding two lenses together. So it's like, it is. That's what I said.
If you have a local park, sit. If you have a field of grass, lie in it. If you have an instrument to touch or actually play, or a lover's hand to hold, then what the f are you doing at a virtual Sabrina Carpenter concert? Think about it.